I just pressed the Let's Go Live button, and that means we've got to wait for the stream to fire up all across the fruited plains of the interwebs. Before we go ahead and get started, we've got Stormy Daniels back on the stand. And we're going to get into it today, my friends. Let's wait for those tubes to connect themselves all across the fruited plain of the interwebs. And it looks like they are connecting. That's tremendous news. That means we can go ahead and get started. So let's do it, shall we? Hello, my friends, and welcome back to yet another episode of Watching the Watchers Live, the show that spotlights misconduct involving police, prosecutors, and politicians. My name is Robert Gouveia. I am a criminal defense attorney. And today, we're talking about how Stormy Daniels blew the entire Trump prosecution. And I'm talking about the case, okay? Absolutely disastrous. Today was day 2 of her testimony. We are going to go through it. She was up there for about the first half of the day. Then we got a couple of other witnesses, other people to authenticate some records, and Madeleine Westerhout, who came out, Donald Trump's former executive assistant. And so we're going to break this down into 3 different segments. We're going to jump right in to the trial, of course, blowing the prosecution, the case. And we're going to see that Trump spoke before he went in there. He was saying that this judge is extremely biased, needs to go, and we'll hear what he has to say. Then we're going to jump into the trial fresh. We're going to get into it right away today and go over to inner city press reporting. What is today? Day 14, I believe, of the trial. And so we're going to be listening to him explain what happened. And we'll also, Adam Klasfeld did a nice job today of pulling some different exhibits. So we'll pull some of the exhibits as well. We'll kind of bounce between the two of them. When the exhibits come out, we'll go to Klasfeld and see what he was able to clip for us. Now, this is a bad deal for the government. They are really screwed, I think, on this case. The case. And it's because they bit off more than they can chew. They brought in Stormy Daniels. She spread a bunch of nasty lies. And now they've decided that Karen McDougal is not going to be coming in here to testify. That was a big takeaway at the end of the day today. Karen McDougal, of course, we spent a bunch of time with David Pecker. He was one of the first witnesses out here to lay all the foundation for Karen McDougal and this catch and kill thing. And so now they're not going to bring her out. That's pretty shocking. Why is that? Because their case is a disaster. They have no case. They don't want to bring another Playboy bunny out here on top of Stormy Pornstar Daniels. So we know that they are floundering. They had a very bad day. Trump came out. He just spoke. There was a bunch of post-trial briefings and different arguments that they got into today. So we had a full day of trial. We'll see what is happening there. And we're excited to jump into it. Then we had a couple of other smaller stories. Michael Cohen snapped on TikTok, and he was out yesterday. You can see this photograph of him, Donald Trump in a orange jumpsuit right there on his shirt, tucked away behind bars. And Cohen is still not testified yet. So we have Stormy Daniels, who came out and blew the entire prosecution, the case. And Michael Cohen is now going to be the next witness who's going to be coming out here. And that's going to be a big problem because he's a convicted perjurer, liar, and multiple people have many problems with him, including Congress. And so they sent over a criminal referral over to Merrick Garland. They say, dude, this guy is lying all over the place. Are you going to do anything about this? Hopefully they will. We'll also hear from Jim Jordan as he comes out and speaks about some of this in the second segment, and we'll hit that one before we get to our final segment on the day, which is the Trump prosecutor DNC connection, man. And this is wild. So not only are some of these prosecutors who are on this case who are currently prosecuting Trump, not only some of them are getting paid by the Democrats. Okay, so Matthew Colangelo, he got paid 12 grand from the Democrats. It was a while ago, but we see he was doing some consulting for them. So he's a Democrat consultant. So we also have him, but he's getting money from the DNC. And then this other prosecutor, Susan Hoffinger, she's paying money to the DNC. She donated over $1,000 to Joe Biden and Act Blue. Okay, and these are the two people who are prosecuting Trump. Isn't it weird? Almost feels like it is a political prosecution. Strange, I know. Then we'll, of course, wrap up the day with a little bit of Alina Hava. And so we'll see what she has to say. And in conclusion, we want to, of course, have her great legal analysis. So we've got 3 good segments to get to today, my friends. Grateful that you are here and joining us. We have a great members-only community. You can join us on YouTube. You can join us on Locals. We do members-only streams in the morning, no matter where you join us, whether it's on YouTube or on Locals. We talk about a bunch of other stuff that we can't get into here. And this morning we were diving into the Trump trial early, talking about, we're going deeper is what we're talking about. We'd love to have you come join us. Watchingthewatchers.locals.com or on YouTube, become a member, and we'll see you in the morning streams. We also stream on Saturday, and so come and join us. We have our website, robertgovea.com, where our daily newsletter is existing. You can go there, sign up there. We have our show reports, our PDFs, our merch store, and the show calendar. We also have watcherlodge.com, which is where we have our sovereignty and our self-development community burgeoning and growing. We have Sovereignty Saturdays every Saturday. Come join us. The prior Saturday streams are now up and alive and well. And check out the calendar because there's other stuff you might be interested in. All right, so now without any further ado, man, let's get to it. Sometimes I'll save this one for the end, but we need to get right into it. Stormy Daniels back on the stand, and she blew the entire prosecution. The case, I mean. And we're going to go through the trial testimony today, courtesy of Inner City Press. He was in there in the courtroom reporting, and it was bad. We're going to pick back up with cross-examination, and I mean bad for her, bad for the government. It was so bad, in fact, that they've decided we're going to get rid of our other bimbo, who is named Karen McDougal, Droopy, and we're not going to bring her in here because she's going to continue to wreck our case even further. So it was a disaster. We're going to hear from Trump. We're going to go through the full day's trial activities and see what Inner City Press has for us in his reports. But first, here is what Trump said when he made his way to the courtroom. Just a short clip this morning from the court, from Kyle Becker, and he came with his documents prepared. He came with the paperwork to say, look what everyone else is saying about this ridiculous case.
This is another one. This is without precedent in American history, only with the desperation of President Joe Biden and his fanatic left-wing enforcers did it become possible to think about arresting and jailing their major political opponent. This case must be taken out of Judge Merchan's hands because he's totally conflicted.
Totally.
Judge Merchan is totally conflicted.
100%.
Like probably no judge has ever been conflicted before. Here's another one. Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg. His prosecution of former President Donald Trump violates both the federal and state constitutions. This is a prosecutor making it up as he goes along. Due process worthy of the names does not tolerate that. So these are statements. This is Andrew McCarthy made that statement. Highly respected.
Yeah, highly respected.
The judge is allowing wide scope of information that has absolutely nothing to do with the case. That's Rebecca Rose Woodland, Fox News.
Look at that tie combo, huh? Both with the white shirts, red, white, and blue, baby. Go get them, boys. All right, so that's the president and Todd Blanche. You can see Alina Abba's back there, some other people in the wings. But let's get into the trial testimony. Of course, you know where we go for this. Inner City Press reporting, Matthew Russell Lee. You can find all of his work at Inner City Press on X. And if you're following us live, we just reposted that so you can follow along. Now, here is what he tells us, reporting from New York, Inner City Press, Matthew Russell Lee reporting. He says Trump is there in the courtroom, as we saw. Blue suit, blue tie, looking sharp. Todd Blanche to his left, seated at the defense table, and Susan Necheles back in the first lead counsel chair today. Remember, Susan Necheles was the one who finished up with the cross-examination of Stormy. We like to pair female with female so it doesn't look like the male is badgering the female, if you think that's possible with Stormy. But we are back. Trump turns, talks to her, to Susan, gesturing with his right hand, waiting for Justice Merchan, the judge, to come in. We wait, drum roll. Door bursts open. All rise. Here he comes. All right, Judge waddles in here. I say back down. Okay. Clerk of the court says, good morning. This is the time set for the people of the state of New York versus Donald Trump, indictment number 2002-3001-572. Made that number up. Judge says, good morning. Now, before we begin, anything that we need to address? Government prosecutor stands up, says, Your Honor, yeah, there is a defendant exhibit. It's called J26. And the defense is trying to get an arrest record of Miss Daniels moved into evidence. And so we move to preclude that. And Judge Merchan says, well, was there a conviction with the arrest or is it just the arrest? And Trump's lawyer says, well, Your Honor, it's just the arrest, but my intention is I'm going to talk about that arrest because I think it's, first of all, it's relevant. You said we could talk about everything else about Trump. We have a whole Sandoval motion that has line item after line item of Trump did a bad thing, Trump jaywalked, Trump. So we're going to ask her about that. But also, Your Honor, I plan to ask her about what her ex-husband actually accused her of doing, because you could see where this is going. Maybe the ex-husband accused her of doing something like, extorting him, or extorting other people, or assaulting him, or doing something else, maybe that she was kind of hinting at, alleging that maybe Trump did to her, right? Do you have a pattern of accusing men of having a power imbalance? Do you have a history, Stormy, of accusing or doing these things to your ex-husband? That's why they accuse you of doing these things? So, Your Honor, I plan to ask her about what he accused her of doing. The judge says, hey, no, that's not coming in, okay? So it's just an arrest, no conviction. Now, where do you stand on the limiting instruction? On the limiting instruction, remember, Stormy Daniels was running her mouth about what's in the toiletry thing. She said she was staring off into oblivion, up into the ceiling. She said that she was also fearful, essentially, because of a power imbalance and all sorts of wild things. Then she hung out with him like 6 times later, but okay. So what do you want to do on a limiting instruction? Do you want me to tell the jury to disregard all of that innuendo and all the stuff that we shouldn't have let come in, but I let come in anyways? Well, Your Honor, can we wait till she's done to the end of her testimony? Then I'll come back on a limiting instruction. He says, yeah, that makes sense. So get the witness. Stormy Daniels comes walking in, and she was apparently taking selfies of herself and stuff outside with her attorney today. Probably going to, post that on her Insta. She takes the stand. Judge says, get the jury, please. Jury comes in. All rise. Jury is now entering. We're back seated. Trump's defense attorney is up. Stormy Daniels is on the bench. Defense Attorney Necheles says, good morning, Ms. Daniels. And now we were picking up with this conversation. Now, you recall that President Trump was elected in November 2016. Is that right, Stormy? Correct. And you recall that you did an interview, and you said in this interview that claims that you had sex with President Trump was bullcrap. Objection. Sustained. What? You did an interview where you said that was sustained. But do you remember that? Sustained, says the judge. Quiet, Susan. She says, okay. Well, in 2016, Stormy, then apparently you wanted to sell your story, right? The judge says, all right, please approach. Ms. Necheles, please approach up here. So they go up there at the sidebar at the judge's bench. Blanche remains at the defense table with Trump there whispering. The objection is sustained again. Weird. Can't talk about any of her interviews. Strange. I thought we were going to get into this stuff. Objection sustained. So you can't get into that. Don't know why. Necheles goes back to Stormy, says, all right, Stormy, listen. You wanted to sell your story to President Trump, right? She says, no. I wanted to sell my story to the media, to get my story out. But isn't it true you made the decision for your lawyers to sell it, right? Well, yeah. And it was your choice to do that, right? Yeah. Well, I wanted to do a press conference and tell everybody about it. But you didn't do that press conference, did you, Stormy? No, I didn't. Instead, you spoke to Slate, the magazine, and you spoke to Weisberg about your supposed affair with President Trump, didn't you? Yeah. And that you were negotiating with Cohen, weren't you? She says, well, he was my backup, okay? If I couldn't do this and I was going to go back to him, and so there was a reason for it. And she said, okay, thank you for the answer. Now, I want you to look at this exhibit, Stormy. And you told Weisberg that as an alternative to being paid for your silence, you wanted to be paid for your story, right? So if you're not going to get paid for your silence, if Trump's not going to pay you, you're going to take it out. So I don't remember saying that, and I don't know where you got that. She said, but you told Weisberg that, didn't you? She said, well, my better alternative was to get my story protected by a paper trail without putting my family at risk, because she says she got attacked or, threatened in a parking lot in Vegas, whatever. Now, you also told Weisberg from Slate that your motive was President Trump having come out against gay marriage and abortion. Is that right? She says, no, false. That's not true. All right, well, let's put up the transcript, Stormy. Okay, it's already in evidence. So let's put up the transcript. It's the voice of Keith Davidson, right? Her lawyer is on the call. Objection from the government, probably attorney-client privilege, sustained, whatever, I don't know. So they say, okay, so a sustained, maybe it's the wrong clip. After a sidebar, Necheles plays another clip that's already in evidence. And so let's go over to Klasfeld. Now, Adam Klasfeld is also there and reporting, and he has some of these exhibits. So that was the bad audio. So they played the different audio. They say, I apologize, Your Honor, I pulled the wrong one, my mistake. So here, let me play this one. So they play this audio. Here's what the exchange sounds like. It's Keith Davidson on the phone talking to Michael Cohen, couple exchanges. Looks back like this is back on April 4th, 2018. So Trump has won. Trump is in the Oval Office. And he is now the president. And so Keith Davidson says to Michael Cohen, says, you know, hey, Michael, I just didn't want you to get caught off guard. And I wanted to let you know what was going on behind the scenes. And I would not be the least bit surprised if you see in the next couple of days that Gina Rodriguez's boyfriend goes out in the media and tells the story that Stormy Daniels, you know, in the weeks prior to the election was basically yelling and screaming and calling me a big weenie. So remember, there was leverage. And so Stormy was telling him, go get me paid, bro. Like, where's my money? Michael Cohen says, can I ask you a question? Right. Can I ask you a question? Keith Davidson says, shut up, Michael. No, hold on 1 second, idiot. He says, I wouldn't be the last bit surprised if he comes out and says, you know what? Stormy Daniels, she wanted this money more than you could ever imagine. I remember her hearing on the phone saying, you effing Keith Davidson, rah, 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 you better settle this GD story, because if he loses this election, and he's going to lose, if he loses this election, we lose all effing leverage. This case is worth zero. And if that happens, I'm going to sue you, Keith, because you lost this opportunity. So settle this effing case. And that's a far cry, Keith. That's a far cry, far cry, you know, being bullied and pushed into settling a case. All right, so he's defending himself. Keith Davidson is saying, yeah, don't tell me, don't Stormy, don't come back crying to me like you were like forced to do this. Okay, you're on the phone screaming at me, F&A, mother effing you son of a B, you know, all the words. Settle this effing case. Cohen says, yeah, right. Sounds like she's like kind of a psychoville. It's like, wow, you get it settled, right? He's like, she's a lunatic, dude. She was pushing me to settle it. I got bullied into settling this case, and I'm the lawyer. So Michael Cohen, right, that's the transcript. So they play that in court. And now the question comes. So back over to Stormy Daniels from Susan. They say, well, let me show you the contract, okay, that apparently you signed. Like, you know this is a legal agreement, right? You signed this document. You know it's a legal agreement, don't you? She said, well, I'm not an attorney, but yeah, I know it's legal. Now, the recitals on this document say that, Stormy, that you had come into confidential info. And she says, well, I signed this based on what my attorney told me I should do. I don't even know what it says, but I signed it. Okay, but you did sign it though, right? Like, this is your acknowledgement. You signed it. Yeah. And you released the claims, right? Is that true? She says, yeah, I did. And it's true that Michael Cohen negotiated this, didn't he? She says, well, that's what I was led to believe. Well, I want to show you this Wall Street Journal article. Now, you knew this article was coming out, didn't you, Stormy? Put it up on the screen. Yeah, my lawyer, Keith Davidson, told me something was coming out, so I had some idea. And you put up a statement denying that you had sex with President Trump, didn't you? And she reads the statement. And we have that courtesy of Adam Klasfeld. So January, she says, okay, well, I recently became aware that certain news outlets are alleging that I had a sexual or romantic affair with Trump many years ago. And I'm stating, this is the defense attorney reading this. You wrote this. Is this your signature? Yeah. It says, I am stating with complete clarity that this is absolutely false. Huh. My involvement with Donald Trump, she's like looking at Stormy. Wow, this is amazing. With Donald Trump was limited to a few public appearances and nothing more, just like the evidence shows. When I met Donald Trump, he was gracious, professional, and a complete gentleman to me and everyone in my presence. Yeah, very clear. And rumors that I have received hush money from Trump are completely false. If indeed I did have a relationship with Donald Trump, trust me, you wouldn't be reading about it in the news, okay? You'd be reading about it in my book. Because she's not stupid. Make a lot more money, making a whole career out of her sex scandal than one NDA for 130 grand. You can book residuals your whole life, right? She could get on MSNBC. She'd probably end up on The View. But the fact of the matter is, these stories are not true. So they read that whole thing and it's like, wow, Stormy, well, nice letter, well done. So it's true that you signed that, right? She says, well, I didn't write it though. I was told I had to sign it. You were told you had to sign it. So, but you denied the rumor, didn't you? She said, well, because it wasn't a rumor, it was true. So you denied the rumor, but you're saying the rumor was true. Okay. So they say, all right, so, okay, I guess that's fake. So apparently you also signed this one too, didn't you, Stormy? There was a whole different letter, and they point out this same letter, which we've read here many times. She wrote this one, January 30th, some time ago, 2018. Says, to whom it may concern, signed, Stormy Daniels. Over the past few weeks, I've been asked countless times to comment on reports of an alleged sexual relationship that I had with Donald Trump many, many, many years ago. The fact of the matter is that each party to this alleged affair denied its existence in 2006 and 2011 with 2 zeros in it. I'm having a hard time believing that some lawyer wrote that and put a 0 in there. Like, this is kind of like an official statement. So 2016, 17, and now again in 2018, like if I had to guess, Stormy wrote that because she doesn't have a lot of intelligence because she has been a professional sex worker her whole life. And so, you know, typing is probably hard for her, probably because of, you know, what's the condition in your hands when you type too much, whatever that is. So I'm denying this affair because it never happened. I will have no further comment on this matter. Yeah, right. Please feel free to check me out on Instagram, though, at the Stormy Daniels. Come follow my jugs over there. So, all right, here. Now, that is the second statement. They read that into the record, and they say, well, you signed this one too, didn't you? She says, yeah. Carpal tunnel. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, she has trouble typing on the keyboard because of her carpal tunnel. Yeah. Susan Necheles now digs into this. Says Michael Cohen. So Michael Cohen was pushing you to sign it. So maybe Michael Cohen wrote it up. That's why he can't spell 2011. Now, Michael Cohen was pushing you to sign this, wasn't he, Stormy? Well, yeah, he was through Keith Davidson. And I did not speak with Michael Cohen directly. So my lawyer was pushing me to sign it through Keith Davidson. Was Michael Cohen. Okay. And so President Trump was denying the affair in 2018, wasn't he? And he wasn't running for office at that time, was he? So he was denying this even after the fact. So part of the argument is that he was only denying it in 2015, 2016, because he was running for president. He was still denying it in 2018, meaning that the denial was continuous. The denial had nothing to do only with the campaign. It had also to do with his reputation, with his wife, with his business brands, and all of the other affairs that he is involved in, the other non-affairs, you know what I'm saying? So there are major justifications for it. Why would he maintain it? He's not like, well, the election's over. I guess you're right. We did, you know, do the dibbity. He's not running for office. And so wouldn't you agree that President Trump was trying to protect his brand, right? She says, well, I don't know what he was trying to protect. Well, you said that you had sex with him for money, and you did that, what, to make money? And she said, well, I did some media for free. So like I went on Anderson Cooper for free. She says, so not everything was about making money. Yeah, but after that interview, didn't you sold a book with your story for $800,000, right? Wow, Stormy, almost $1 million. Yeah, I did, but I didn't receive the $800,000. Man, she got screwed again. It just happens to her all the time. But so far, you have made $930,000, right? After all of the things you've made. She says, well, minus what was stolen from me. All right, Stormy, and after the book that you sold for $800,000, isn't it true that you went on a strip tour and you called this strip tour Make America Horny Again? She says, well, yeah, but I did not make up the name for that tour. Okay, I fought it tooth and nail. Wasn't my decision to name it. Yeah, but you advertised your tour and you took with the photo from the golf tournament, right? So Stormy and Trump have a golf tournament photo. She said, well, I didn't do that. So they used your photo, but you had nothing to do with that. No. Now, didn't you say, Stormy, that the white men were gone? Now your fan base is gay couples and the resistance. She said, oh, so all my white fans are gone. Now my fan is based as gay couples and the resistance. She says, well, it did change, but I was not selling myself to the fans. Right, but your fans changed. Why? Because you were selling a story, right? That's why your fans changed. Because you were selling a story of supposedly having sex with Trump, right? No, I was telling my life, whatever. Stormy, isn't it also true that you made $200,000 for appearing on The Surreal Life, whatever that is? Gosh, they overpaid. Yes. And there was a documentary on TV. You were paid for the rights to your book, right? Well, they didn't have to pay me, but something. They didn't have to. And during this documentary, isn't it true that you had sex with the cameraman also? It's like, gosh, sex everywhere. Well, yeah, we did, but I started dating him. That's why I had sex with him. And then he became my husband, so I married him. So how about that? But you were married at the time, right? When you slept with him? So there was a camera guy, you were banging the camera dude, and you were married when you were banging him. Is that right? She said, well, I was married, but I was separated, technically. Sounds like Nathan Wade. And so where did you deposit all this money you got? Almost $1 million, it sounds like, from a bunch of different stuff. Where'd that money go? Well, I put that into my business account, and it covers my security, and so I just need it for that. Okay. Now, isn't it true, Stormy, that you went to various viewing parties? And when you went to these viewing parties, you'd agree that you were treated like a hero, right? You'd walk in there, they'd say, oh, look, Stormy Daniels is here. They'd come up to you and say, you're saving America, huh? And she said, well, that's in strip clubs, okay? The viewing parties are very polarizing. People come up to me in the strip clubs, and I'm treated like a hero, but the viewing parties are polarizing. But isn't it true, Stormy, at one point you said that you'll be instrumental, using your words, in putting President Trump in jail? Is that what you said? She says, I don't know about that. I don't think I ever used that word. Show me the word where I said instrumental. Susan said, okay, sure. It's right here in your tweet. Here's your tweet. It says, it makes me the best person to flush the orange turd down. And she says, oh, okay. Yeah, instrumental's a pretty big word for me. So you're right. I wouldn't even use that because I don't even know what that means. But I do know what orange turd means. So, yeah, so I didn't actually say instrumental. Sorry, Susan. It's like way too many syllables. But I did say orange turd, and it doesn't say Trump, okay? It just says orange turd. And so if you want to interpret it as being Trump, then you can. But I was just talking about orange turds because I like eating Cheetos or something. Now, I offer you this tweet. And she says, well, it's to a suspended account, so I don't even know if it's mine. So I don't even know if that's mine because it's suspended. So prosecutor says, Your Honor, I object. Your Honor, may we approach? They go up to the sidebar at the bench. Todd Blanche is still at the defense table whispering to Trump. They come back. Susan Necheles continues. Stormy, on Twitter, isn't it true you celebrated and tried to sell merchandise in your online store? You do have a store, don't you? She says, yeah, I do. And you wrote on your Twitter account, you said, don't want to spill my champagne. Merch orders are pouring in. Right? You said that, right? Don't want to spill my champagne because merch orders are pouring in. And just backing up a bit, shout out to Adam Klasfeld who dug up these posts. But Stormy Daniels said here, exactly. Okay, Michael Cohen and Stormy Daniels, a.k.a. the human toilet, are their star witnesses. Says exactly, making me the best person to flush the orange turd down. So she's like dunking on someone else. Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to be the best person. I'm going to get rid of him. And here was the other one, courtesy of Klasfeld. He says, here's the other post. Says, thank you to everyone for your support and love. March 30th, 2023. I have so many messages coming in that I can't respond. Also, don't want to spill my champagne. Team Stormy merch autograph orders are pouring in too, making all sorts of moolah. Thank you for that as well, but allow a few extra days for shipment. Stormy Daniels, making more money. So they say, oh, okay. Didn't you say that? She says, yeah. And this was you shilling your merch, wasn't it? Well, I'm just doing my job, okay? That's my job, is to get out there and engage with my community and sell merch. Not unlike Mr. Trump. He sells merch all the time. But does he sell merch with your face on it, Stormy, making fake claims about you? No, that question was not asked. That's my question. But your merchandise Stormy, is your bragging rights, right? Isn't that you're bragging that President Trump is indicted, right? Your merchandise is you bragging about getting President Trump indicted, right? She asks, I got President Trump indicted? It continues. She says, isn't it true, Stormy, that you're making $40 for every Stormy Saint of Indictments candles? So you're literally selling candles about Trump's indictment. Here it is. Necheles here. This isn't the specific image shown to the witness, but it's similar from Klasfeld. So here's Stormy. Stormy Daniels' indictment, patron saint altar candle, which is, blasphemous. I mean, she's a degenerate porn star who is filled with sin regularly. And so she now sells a patron saint altar candle to try to, needle the people who believe in a higher power and have faith that their savior is not in someone else's pants. So this is Stormy Daniels, right? That's what she's doing out there. And I'm wondering how that's going to go over with the jury. I wonder if there's anybody on the jury who is a religious person who thinks this is a funny image to have a disgusting degenerate mocking religion. Isn't that interesting? Wonder how they'll like that. So well done. Point to Donald Trump's defense team. Amazing. So that's you, huh? Well, that's nice. Looking at all the people on the jury. That's nice. So isn't it true you're making $40 for every one of those? And of course, that wasn't even $40. But she says, no, I only make about $7 per. And here's the Stormy Daniels political power comic. Did you write this one? No, I didn't write it. But you're selling it, aren't you, on your magazine? Don't know if you got a copy of that one. You're selling a Stormy Daniels political power comic. I didn't write it, but you're selling it. Isn't that true? Yeah, I am selling it. And Stormy, you're also writing 2 books, aren't you? Yeah. And what are they about? She says, well, one is about rock star, porn star, about my husband. Rock star, porn star is about my husband. And one's a novel about a girl from New Orleans. Oh, it's probably Stormy and her little escapades. Susan Necheles. She says, oh, a novel about a girl from New Orleans, huh? Wow, that sounds fascinating. Let me ask, does she have sex with a presidential candidate in there? Daniel says, no, she doesn't. It's a good idea, though. Maybe I'll add that in chapter 10. Now, you said, Stormy, I want to dig into this. You said that you lived in a haunted house in New Orleans. It's just, can you tell me about your haunted house? She said, I did. Yeah. It's, scary. And apparently when you were in New Orleans, there was a ghost that held your husband underwater or something. There was a ghost held your husband underwater. She says that she was a possum under the house. What? Your Honor, I asked to strike that. Overruled. So something about a possum under the house. And says it's about the paranormal. Yeah, apparently she's into some paranormal stuff, so they strike that. So they continue. Susan Necheles. Stormy, isn't it true that you also attacked your boyfriend? Objection. We already talked about this. Judge says move on. But didn't your boyfriend object and question to your sanity? Objection. They move on, right? She's really trying to get into this boyfriend stuff, but answer is no. Oh, gross. Get your gag bag out of here. Your vomit can ready. Susan Necheles says, Stormy, isn't it true you've been in over 200 sex films? And I mean, prayers to that intern who had to go dig up that number, figure that out. Gross. She says 200 including comps. What are those? Compilations. She says they're compilations. So you have experience in making up fake stories about sex, you'd say. You're pretty good at that. She says, well, the sex is real. That's why it's not a B movie, so we're not faking the sex. But now you also have a story about having sex with President Trump too. So you write stories for those things and about the pool boy who bumped into, the maid in the house. Wow. Is that what happened? Well, if I was making it up, it would have been a lot better. Okay, Stormy, let's get real. Okay, you make money working in the sex clubs, don't you? No, I work in strip clubs, okay? It's a big difference. Well, do you remember, Stormy, when the prosecutor called Miss Hoffinger was asking if you remembered the black and white tiled floor? Do you remember that? She says, well, there's nothing wrong with preparing a witness. I would hope any lawyer would do that. So someone had a conversation with her. When they ask you about us prepping you, you just tell them we're allowed to do that. But the details have to match, right? Like the details of what you said here, they should match your book, shouldn't they? Because they're your memories. So your memory should match, right? So it needs to match your book, doesn't it? So for example, this supposed sex that you say happened, it took place 18 years ago, didn't it? And only you and President Trump were supposedly there. Is that right? She says, well, his bodyguard was right at the door outside. And you say you and Trump met in Lake Tahoe. Is that true? Yeah. And there were a lot of celebrities at that golf tournament, weren't there? She says, yeah. Was Aaron Rodgers there? He was there, right? I don't know. Charles Barkley, was he there? Yeah. And your picture with President Trump was one of dozens of photos you took. You took pictures with everybody, right? Of course, you're Stormy Daniels. Hey. So this is what she does. Now, your shows up there and tries to, this is what they do, okay? They're professional degenerates. Trump lawyer Necheles says, your testimony, Stormy, is that you told your lawyer, Keith Schiller, you told him F no, or I'm sorry, Keith Schiller, not Keith Davidson. Keith Schiller is the bodyguard. You said that you told the bodyguard F no. He said, you want to come up here and meet with Trump? F no. But kind of, here's my number, so give me a call. Is that what you said? You said that? She says, yeah, that's right. I said F no, and then I gave him my number, right? Okay. But in 2011, isn't it true that you told In Touch magazine something different? I don't know what you're referencing. I'd like to show you Exhibit J23. Now, you said President Trump also asked for your number, right? And you said that you rode a golf cart together and you gave your number to President Trump. Is that true? Well, I gave it to his bodyguard. But you didn't mention his bodyguard to In Touch. How come you didn't mention that to them? Well, they tried to get me to not mention other people. Oh, so they had you change your story. Oh. But here in the story, which is still public, you do mention Keith Schiller, the bodyguard, later on in the story. In fact, in another story in 2011, you told the interviewer, you said to dinner. Yeah, of course. So why is your story changed? Yeah, of course. Trump asked to dinner, the original response, no, heck, F no, no. And then, yeah, of course. Well, she says, my publicist told me that. This is a frivolous entertainment magazine, and so that story's not true. Oh, so you lied, is what you're saying. So that story's not accurate. What you said here is accurate, but this story is now different, so you lied. You told Kimmel we never had dinner when you went on his show, and you said that he lied to me. You said, I stayed for the food. Do you remember you said that? I stayed for the food, making jokes. Well, I was invited to dinner and I never got dinner, and I am very food motivated. We can tell, we know. And J28, they say, okay, you're very food motivated. I want to show you this, Stormy. Here, page 4. Put it up. She says, oh, where's that from? Oh. Well, on Anderson Cooper, Stormy, in 2018, you said that you had dinner with President Trump. Didn't you say that? Well, I'd like to be shown what I said. And presumably they play it. No, I guess I did say that. Oops. She just said we didn't have dinner. Now I did say we had dinner. Why is her story changing? Dinner's kind of a big difference. Did you eat or didn't you? Now you remember the tiles on the floor, don't you? But you don't remember this? Objection sustained. Now you said you had dinner, but you didn't. Is that true? So on Anderson Cooper on the news, did you lie again when you said you had dinner? Well, where I come from, having dinner doesn't necessarily mean putting food in your mouth. All the jurors go, oh, man. Stormy, Now, you said President Trump sent a car. Well, I don't know who sent it. It was, before Uber came out. And you told In Touch magazine that when you got to the hotel, President Trump was sprawled out on the couch watching TV, right? You told In Touch, your story's totally different. Sprawled out watching TV versus coming down in his pajamas. I don't remember saying that. You said sprawled out in his pajama pants. Is that what you said? Well, he got up, so that all changed. Now, in your book, Stormy, you wrote that you had made him your B, didn't you? You made him your little B, right? Because you're so powerful is what you thought. You said that in your book. Didn't you write that? Well, I used to think that. And this was not the first time that someone made a pass at you. Is that true? She says, no, but there was a bodyguard out there. And so so they're probably getting into a line of questioning, like you felt afraid. Is this the first time someone ever asked you, hey, do you want to, come up to my room? I know who you are. I know what you do. Hello, let's transact, That's why you go to these golf tournaments, to go find someone. Is this the first time someone made a pass at you? No, but there was a bodyguard there. And so maybe I was a little, weirded out or whatever. Stormy, in 2011, when you were talking with this magazine, you told In Touch that when you saw Trump on the bed, you said this, oh, here we go. And then we started kissing and we had sex. Didn't you say that to them? Well, there are parts I don't remember in between. Now, Trump's leaning forward. He's watching this closely. Susan says, the In Touch in it doesn't have him saying, if you want to get what you want and trailer park. It's not, none of that story that you just made up is in there. How come? Oh, well, they left out a lot of stuff. We just didn't talk about it. And you were there for interviews with the Slate magazine in 2018. Didn't you interview with Jacob Weisberg? I don't know if that's his name, but if that's, I guess, what it says. And you told Mr. Weisberg that there was no abuse, right? Yeah. And you said that you were not a victim, right? And you never told Weisberg about blacking out, did you? No, I didn't. Mr. Trump did not drug me. The worst thing he did was lie. About what? In 2018, you said he didn't force you, but on Tuesday, you said he stood over you. No, I said in front of me. Okay. Power imbalance, right? She's just looking kind of ridiculous. The jury heard everything on Tuesday. They're like, we heard what you said, lady. In 2018, you told a reporter there was no pressure at all to do anything. So how come we're here? She says, well, my own insecurities made me do it. And Stormy, I want to ask you about this organization called the American Century Championship. Apparently they had parties and auctions. You're familiar with those? Yeah, I'm familiar. There were a couple of auctions there. And in your book, Stormy, you said that at the nightclub, you talked with President Trump for about an hour. Is that right? Well, he left first, I would say after about 15 minutes. And in 2007, you also went and took a selfie in Trump Tower. Is that true? She says, yeah, I took that at the Trump vodka party. And we take our morning break. We pause and big whoo from Inner City Press, man. Great reporting. Of course, be sure you're following him. PayPal, Substack, Patreon. Great reporting. We're grateful for it. We fast forward and we're back. Susan Necheles. Stormy, do you recognize this Making America Horny Again tour flyer that we got from your Instagram? She says, yeah. Now at the golf tournament, President Trump was probably the biggest celebrity. Do you know? She says, it depends. People recognize me too. Now, when Vogue interviewed you in 2018, you said you never felt in danger about any of this. You said he wouldn't have run after you. You didn't mention the bodyguard at all. She said, well, that's because I don't control the magazine. Vogue is a fashion magazine. Sometimes I give too much details and they just cut them out. So let's get down to the transaction here, Stormy. Thanks for that. Now, it's true that Mr. Cohen paid you, okay, not Mr. Trump. Is that right? Mr. Cohen gave you the money. Actually, my lawyer, Keith Davidson, paid me. But the money that Keith Davidson got, it came from Michael Cohen, right? I understand that, but I have no proof that that is true. Now, you know that this is a business records indictment, don't you? She says, well, there are a lot of indictments. She said, we moved to strike. Overruled. No further questions on that. Now, let's flesh this out here. And dozens of photos. Here is an exchange. Daniels notes that the number exchange happened through bodyguards, right, Keith? And that was the candle. So we didn't have a price point. That was the exact candle that they showed, courtesy of Adam Klasfeld. She says she's talking about dinner and snack food. She's been in a lot of porn movies. Okay, and we have the gaps filled in. So that is the end of the cross-examination. Prosecutor says, can we have a sidebar? Mercan says, yeah, please approach. This time, Emile Beauvais stays back at the defense table, hanging out with Trump. Stormy Daniels puts his chin on her chin. We're back. Prosecutor is back. We're here for redirect. Stormy, this is the government. You were asked if fear was part of your reason for signing the NDA. Defense. Objection. Overruled. Answer. Your lawyer advised you to sign it, right? He said, get high, stay high, whatever that means. And Stormy, the government says there was no lawsuit pending when you signed the NDA. Is that right? That's right. There was not. I want to show you these text messages, Stormy. It says, is she ready to talk? Dylan, I think from AMI, said, I thought she denounced it previously. Now, she asked you to read that, right? But she didn't ask you to read the very next box, did she? Where Gina says that you never did it, right? That you didn't talk. She didn't read that, says Stormy. And the in touch, it says lightly edited. Did she ask you about that, about the light editing? No, she didn't. And you didn't tell every single detail of everything that happened to Anderson, did you? No, I didn't. Sidebar, Ms. Hoffinger says, you may clarify to the extent that we discussed. They come back. Now, you told Anderson Cooper that you had sex with Mr. Trump, and you told him what happened in that room. Objection from the defense. Sidebar. They come back. You told Anderson Cooper a lot, didn't you, Stormy? Yeah, I did. And when you said that you would celebrate when Mr. Trump was selected, were you responding to being called a disgusting prostitute? Which is accurate. Yes. And when Mr. Trump posted, if you go after me, I'm coming after you, did you think it was about you? Yeah, I thought he was talking about me, like he was going to come get me. And you didn't testify to the grand jury in this case, did you? Objection. Overruled. No, I did not. In Mr. Trump's lawyer's paper in 2017, he confirmed that Michael Cohen was reimbursed, didn't he? Yeah. And has your telling the truth about what happened with Mr. Trump been a net positive or a negative in your life? Objection. She says net negative, nothing further. Recross. Necheles, Susan, defense is back up, says, okay, Stormy, listen. These things happen on Twitter, right? Okay, you get nasty messages from your political opponents, don't you? Yeah. And you wrote that you'll dance down the street when he is selected to go to jail. Did you write that? And you said that. Yeah, I did. And you were called an aging harlot, weren't you? That's pretty nasty, right? And you jabbed right back when that person said that. And you said you made $1 million and you just paid for your new ranch. Remember that? When someone called you a name, you responded. She said, yes, I defend myself on Twitter. And yes, I pay my bills. And when Trump posted, I'm coming after you, there was a Republican PAC going after President Trump, right? I don't know. Okay, no further questions. Nothing further? You may step down. And that is Stormy Daniels, very combative as per usual. And we got to really peer into her degeneracy. And we learned what she calls dinner now. It's pretty shocking. So it is, I think, going to be a interesting, how will this land with the jury? We'll see. But somebody with that background whose story has changed multiple times. I think that's the degeneracy is like icing on a cake, but the big chunk of it is the fact that her story changes. She's money hungry. Everything she says is lacking in credibility because she travels around to go find celebrities, to go sleep with them, and then tries to make up stories, has a couple of encounters, wants to get paid either way. She's going to write a book about an encounter or sign an NDA. The election is coming up. We're running out of time. We're running out of leverage. And Michael Cohen and her lawyer talking about what a psycho she is. She's screaming at me, you settle this case or I'm effing suing you. I'm not getting this delayed, and so on. So the jury is going to take a close look at this, and I think that they're going to say this is a disaster. And I think the government is even acknowledging this is a disaster because, as we're going to see, guess who's not coming in to testify anymore? Karen McDougal, Droopy Booby. She's done. And why? We were expecting her to come in here because they brought in David Pecker to talk about that deal. So why did we have Pecker? We now have two witnesses that are absolutely unnecessary to this case and are prejudicial to this case. Karen Pecker, Stormy Daniels. They're in big trouble. They're trying to plug the holes in their sinking ship. That's why they nuked McDougal. Sorry, Droopy, you're gone. So we get a new witness back in the house, and look who is here. It is a controller. No, it is Rebecca Manaccio, the bookkeeper. She's going to be asking about the controller. Remember, the controller was Jeffrey McConney. Jeffrey McConney was a great witness for Trump. He came out, he said, no, Trump never directed me to classify anything as anything. Remember, the problem here is apparently a false legal expense classification. The controller of the Trump org said, Trump didn't order me to do it. Weisselberg, the CFO, didn't order me to do it. It was a legal expense. That's how I classified it. Perfectly fine, reported it, all the things. So they now bring in the bookkeeper. We love our bookkeepers too, very important. Government calls Rebecca Manaccio. Rebecca walks into the courtroom. Madam, please raise your right hand. You promise to tell the truth, whole truth, no truth? God? I do. Please be seated. Ma'am, where do you work? Rebecca says, I work at the Trump Organization, still there currently, been there for 11 years, and I'm a bookkeeper. I worked at the supermarket, then went up to the Trump org. Now, who's the head of the Trump Organization, would you say, Rebecca Manaccio? Donald Trump. And who is Jeff McConney? You know him. He testified earlier this week. He's the controller. She says, well, what is the controller? He says, she says, I don't really know. They control things. Did you also work for Mr. Weisselberg? I don't think anybody really knows what a controller is. It's a tough one. Did you also work for Mr. Weisselberg? Yeah, I sat just outside his office and I handled invoices. Did Mr. Trump get a new job, Rebecca, in 2016? Yeah. The president. Did he have to move? Yeah. To where? The White House. And how then did he get his checks to sign? She says, oh, well, Deb Tarasoff would give them to me and then I'd FedEx the checks to him. And how many would you send to him at one time? Well, I'd send between 10 and 20 of them. Did you ever send a single check via FedEx? Yeah. Did you include a return envelope addressed to you via FedEx? Yeah. So he'd open it, sign it, put them in the envelope, send them back out. If a check was missing, who would you contact? She says, Madeleine Westerhout, Trump's executive assistant. Have you reviewed the documents on the thumb drive, Rebecca? Yeah. I want to show you this FedEx invoice. That'd be boring. Who did you send these checks to? I sent those to Keith Schiller's home address in D.C. Keith Schiller, the bodyguard. Did there come a time when Schiller left? Yeah. And then you sent them to John McEntee? Yeah. Is this from John McAfee? Yeah. Is this from McEntee to you? Yeah. Sign checks, all signed. Okay, no further questions. End of that witness. We're done. We take the lunch. You know where to support Matthew Russell Lee, Inner City Press reporting. And here is an update. Programming note. After the jury left, Trump's lawyer, Todd Blanche, said, Your Honor, we want to move again for a mistrial. This is ridiculous. If that fails, we now move to preclude the testimony of Karen McDougal. Judge said, well, we'll deal with that at 4 p.m. and we'll see you back here in an hour. Enjoy your lunch. We're back. At the defense table, Trump is talking with Emile Beauvais. Todd Blanche, Susan Necheles are standing. Prosecutors arrive. All rise. Judge comes back in from lunch. He says, let's get the witness, please. Then bring in the jury. Manaccio is still here. Oh, we're not done with the documents. You also sent Ivanka Trump some checks, right? How'd you do it? The same way. Do you know if it took the White House a long time to process the mail and get it to Trump? I don't know. Do you know if that's why the checks were sent to people? Objection sustained. I don't know. Now, by then, President Trump was not speaking with Allen Weisselberg at all. Is that true? No, he was not. No further questions. No redirect. And, oh, that was from Necheles. Okay, so my mistake. So that when they came back from lunch, the direct was done. That was Necheles, very short. Necheles, you also sent Ivanka. Yeah, same way. Any idea what they did once they got to the White House? No. Any idea? Objection. So the defense lost that one. Government wins that objection. We're done. So not, FedEx documents. Okay. Mostly irrelevant. Actually, this whole case is irrelevant. So also irrelevant. Next witness. They call this person Tracy Menzies of HarperCollins, book person. Okay, Tracy. Promise to tell the truth, told you don't. I do. At HarperCollins, how involved are the authors in the production of their books? Well, we work with them. They're fully engaged. Are you familiar with the book called Think Big by Donald Trump and Bill Zanker? Yeah. When was this book published? 2007. And this edition is from 21. Can you tell me which author wrote which section? She says, yeah, there are different fonts. Some fonts are for Trump, some fonts are for the other one. Pages shown to the jury. Is this one by Mr. Trump? It says, don't trust anyone. This is by Mr. Trump. What are we doing here? Government says, what is this? She says, oh, well, Trump wrote about this in his book. He said, I value loyalty. We reward it. People like Allen Weisselberg says, I can't stomach disloyalty. When someone screws you, screw them back in spades. Getting even is part of doing business. It's pretty alpha there. Sounds like he might be a good president. Hey, prosecutor says, thanks. No further questions. What a stupid thing. Todd Blanche, Trump's lawyer, comes back up, says, okay, well, those pages were redacted, right? Now, the book is 300 pages, and you were shown 6 of those pages, right? Yeah, right. Did President Trump thank Meredith McIver? Yeah. And could each author have had help? Yeah. No questions. All right, gone. Next witness, done. So, book person. Now we get to someone who is a bit more interesting. The government calls Madeleine Westerhout. Remember her? We talked about her at the start of this case. She was a former executive assistant to Trump, and she ultimately was let go after I think she had a little too much to drink, got a little bit. You know how it is. You get a little loose when the alcohol goes in there. Sometimes you get a little bit mouthy. You say some things you regret. Doesn't make you a bad person. We all make mistakes, but some things have to go. Sometimes you have to make a change. So anyways, she's back landed on her feet, it sounds like. People call Madeleine Westerhout. Madeleine, promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. Where do you work? She says, well, I work at a geopolitical consulting firm. I work for the CEO as an executive assistant, probably. Now, who's paying for your lawyer? Well, he graciously agreed to do it pro bono. Shout out to that guy. Now, where do you work? Where did you work? For the RNC. For how long? For 2013 to 2017. And did you become aware of the Access Hollywood tape? What impact did that have on the RNC leadership? Wow, look at this. That Hollywood tape, our cowardly RNC. She says there were conversations about replacing Trump as the candidate. So get ready for this crap again, my friends. If they get a conviction on this case, which is looking harder and harder by the day, but if they do for some reason get a felony conviction, you just wait for all of our scumbag. Well, RNC leadership has changed, but you'll still see a lot of the same power brokers over there demanding that Trump go. All the Romneyites and all the rest of them, the McConnells, there'll be a lot of force there to try to replace him as the candidate. These people are sick. That little tape, that was it. He won, idiots. So Westerhout continues. Did you spend some time at Trump Tower? Yes. On January 20th, 2017, I was taken to my desk right outside the Oval Office. And she was working for Trump. On January 20th, she got an upgrade. Did anyone else sit closer to the president outside the office? Yeah, Hope Hicks did. Already heard from her. Also, John McEntee and Keith Schiller, bodyguards, and probably Secret Service now. And how does someone call the president? She said, well, they might call me. They'll get a hold of me. Or in the Situation Room. If it was John Smith off the street, they'd call a general number. There'd be screeners, and we'd talk to him if we needed to. Did Mr. Trump ever use a computer or have an email account, says the government? No, not to my knowledge. Would he pay attention to detail? Oh, yeah. Yeah, he signed things himself with the Sharpie. Did you use social media, Westerhout? She says Twitter, now X. Sorry, Elon, don't ban us. Did you use social media? Now, she says as real Donald Trump, but I don't know that she had. Yeah, I guess maybe she did have access to real Donald Trump. Did anyone else have access? Yeah, Dan Scavino. Sometimes the president would dictate a tweet to me, she says. I'd type it up and print it out for him to review. There were certain words he liked to capitalize, like country, and he used exclamation points and the Oxford comma. Yeah, he does, man. His tweets are like master classes in engineering persuasion into a small little unit. They're very, very good. And you'll notice that there's commas, there's exclamation points, there's weird capitalization. They're good. And they speak, more than just the words do. You can tell he's got a little attitude that he puts in there. Madeline says, did you coordinate with the Trump organization, Mr. Westerhout? Sometimes. Yeah, I talked to Ronna Graff. She was another assistant over there. Did you coordinate on Trump's contacts and his calendar and his mail? Yeah. Trump is leaning over, whispering to Susan Necheles. Looks like she'll be doing the cross-examination. Please read this email, Madeline. She says, in this email, well, I asked Ronna Graff, I said, can the girls get together a list of people that he usually speaks with? And then I put a smiley face on there. And on this list, who is this person? Who is David Pecker? She said, well, he's just a tabloid person. Now, did you think that Michael Cohen and Mr. Trump had a close relationship in 2017? At the time, I thought they did. And what's this? Well, at that time, they did. It's not, I thought they did. It's at that time, they did. What's this? An email I sent to Michael Cohen at Trump.org before he came to the White House. And what's this? These are my texts with Hope Hicks. I asked her again, hey, the president wants to know if you called David Pecker again, right? So Trump says, hey, the president wants to know. And what's this? It's mail between Rebecca Minocchio, the bookkeeper, and Keith Schiller, the bodyguard. And what's this? Do you know what the Winged Foot Golf Club is? Winged Foot Golf Club, Miss Madeline? I believe it's a golf course. I think this is an email about his annual dues there at the golf course. President Trump wrote, pay ASAP. And what's this? Well, Ronna from the Trump organization, who's a Trump's assistant at the org, wrote to me about getting a frame from Tiffany's next door. She said the frame costs $650 minus a 15% discount, and so she'll go get it. Did Mr. Trump usually get involved in things like this? No, not usually, but this was a frame for a photo of his mother. Isn't that nice? Gosh, what a good man, and what a good team he's building. Working hard. You know you love your mama, man, when you get a $650 frame for her beautiful face to reside in. What a nice guy. Shout out to Trump's mama. Rest in peace. We love our mamas here. Government says, probably making them like, oh, $650 for his mother, huh? Yeah, punk. Call your mom. Prosecutor says, will you describe Melania's and Trump's relationship? She says, I'd love to. I thought it was very special. He'd have me call her and say he was running late, just like any other marriage. Hey, she's going to kill me. I know she's going to kill me, but you can call her, tell her, I don't know, tell her something about the kids, make up something with the kids. I'll be there. I'll be there soon. I love her. And order some flowers too. They asked Madeline, how did you leave the White House? She says, well, I went to what I thought was an off the record dinner. This is going to be a little sad, and said some things I shouldn't have. And I lost my job and I regret my youthful indiscretion. Do you need a moment? No, I'm fine. I just have to work for this geopolitical firm now. I could be in the White House soon. Did you write a book, Madeline? Yeah. And why did you write that book? She said, well, I wanted my family to know, and I wanted people to know the man that I got to know. And I don't think he is treated fairly. Wipes eyes. Did you speak with him? At a fundraiser in New Jersey. No more questions. She's a great witness for the defense, as far as I can tell. She loves the dude. He calls his wife, cares about his mom. It's great. And apparently she had some communications, moving some, I don't even know what the takeaway is here. So it's for cross-examination. Susan Necheles, Your Honor, it's 3:48. Do you want us to break here? Should we go? No, we'll go. We'll go to 4 p.m. And the judge likes to do this so that they can interrupt the flow of the defense, okay? There's 12 minutes left, obviously. They could wait until tomorrow, but why not get her started so that they can break up her flow? It's like, would you like to go to the gym for 12 minutes? Think about that. No, obviously, okay? After 12 minutes, you're just getting warmed up, man. You're just getting started. No, we'll go to 4 p.m. Get started. We'll make you start over again tomorrow. You thought President Trump was a good president, didn't you, Madeline? Yes. And President Trump kept moving forward, right? He didn't freak out ever, did he? He did. He kept moving forward. And after he won, he had to interview people, and you worked on the briefing papers to do all of this, didn't you? I did. And when they called you to the greeter girl, it was pretty belittling by the press, right? As the prosecutor asked you when they called you the greeter, right? They do this with Trump to all of his people. It's very condescending, and it's very sexist, quite frankly. They say Trump hires good-looking women who are competent, but he finds the talent and brings them up, and then they say, oh, she's just like a little Walmart greeter girl. Shut up. Okay, this woman is much more competent than Karine Jean-Pierre. So they're explaining that. You did the brief, you did a bunch of other things, didn't you? And it was pretty belittling what they did. Now, he never made me feel, Trump, that I didn't deserve to be in the White House. Didn't treat him like crap, like a little peasant. You would say he had a close relationship with his wife, would you? She says, yeah. I'd look into the Oval and I would see he was talking to Melania. He'd say, some to the window, and they'd wave. He'd say something to the window and they'd wave. Yeah, he loves his wife. So it makes sense that he might want to protect her against a fake, scandalous story. Is this a good time to break? Judge says, yeah, that's fine. Jury, we're done for the day. Don't read anything about the case. Don't talk to each other. Well, let's take 10 minutes and we're going to pick it back up. So the jury leaves, but we're not done yet. So, of course, reminder, Matthew Russell Lee, Inner City Press, PayPal, Substack, Patreon, and some of the links are down in our description below. We fast forward. We're back. Major news. Stormy Daniels' testimony was so terrible that they're getting rid of another key witness, Karen McDougal. And they needed Karen McDougal to show that there was some sort of conspiracy going on. This is pretty bad. In most, when there are opportunities for the government to have two options, they like to keep those in case one fails, they can rely on the other. Here's the news. Trump's lawyer, Todd Blanche, says, we've been informed that the people, the government, no longer intend to call Karen McDougal as a witness. This is a big deal. Let's set this case aside for a minute. If you have somebody, a person, let's take another criminal situation who's charged with, let's say, sexual assault, the old R word. If it's a he said, she said situation, if it's one-on-one, not a strong case. It can be a very strong case depending on the evidence, right? But if it's only he said, she said, it's not a strong case. If there's a bunch of other evidence, it's like, okay, that dude clearly did that thing. But if it's not, prosecutors will then try to aggregate other claims. They'll try to look for someone else that has the same claim. So then victim A is one, he said, she said, but then they go get victim B. Victim B now has a story that matches the same as victim A, and it's totally separate. You say, okay, now we've got some similarities. Now the defendant has a pattern. You get a third victim. Oh gosh, now you start stacking them up. Then you get those guys, who are convicted for like 6 victims or something. They stack them up. And they may not have good evidence for any one of them, but they establish a pattern. Now, that's essentially what they're trying to do here. There was some sort of conspiracy. There was a whole catch and kill operation. We heard all of that from David Pecker. And Karen McDougal was going to be the other half of that story, the other side of the coin. David Pecker had nothing to do with Stormy Daniels, but he was a major witness in this case. So why did we get David Pecker and not Karen McDougal if she's not going to come in and confirm the rest of the conspiracy? they're missing a major part of this. In my opinion, David Pecker now has been found to be largely irrelevant because he was going to come in and lay more of the story for this. He had nothing to do with Stormy Daniels at all. So we have two majorly prejudicial witnesses now who have testified in this case who really should not have testified, David Pecker and Stormy Daniels. And if they were to bring in McDougal, that's just going to add more fire to Trump's motion for a new trial or other efforts to get this case dismissed at the close of evidence. So it's a big deal. They are feeling like their ship is sinking and they're pitching stuff overboard. You know those movies where they're like, what else can we throw out of the airplane? Karen McDougal just got thrown out of the airplane. Todd Blanche, Your Honor, they now have only one major witness, Michael Cohen. He's the only one left. We asked that the gag order be lifted as to Stormy Daniels, okay? She's done now. She testified. Now we should be able to talk about her. Her Lake Tahoe friend went on a political show, and Trump should be able to respond. You said that we couldn't talk about this stuff because they might be fearful or whatever your excuse was. Well, she's done. So let's talk about it. Her Lake Tahoe friend also went on a political show, and so Trump needs to be able to respond to this. Says, let's hear from the people. Government jumps up. Your Honor, the other side seems to be living in an alternate reality. Okay, the gag order's in place to protect this proceeding, and it's been working. And the Trump, he mounts attacks selfishly against other people, and there are safety concerns here. And so changing the gag order now could send a message to other witnesses, and the D.C. Circuit said that it's likely to impact other witnesses. And so I was speaking with a custodial witness who was afraid. His book said, attack and send a message. Trump's defense, Your Honor, Miss Daniels was allowed to recount a completely different set of events, make a bunch of stuff up. Judge says, oh yeah, like what? She said, I felt the room spin. What she had said previously was, oh, here we go. We started kissing. I hope he doesn't try to pay me. Now she said, I was blacked out. And some people think maybe because Trump, gave it to her so hard. What happened? She's like, I can't remember anything. Now, I don't see a new set of facts, says the judge, and please have a seat. What Mr. Conroy said is interesting, and I wrote down the same portion of that book, and so let others see. Says, I can't take your word for it, that it's just going to be a response that's disputing the facts. And so now Trump, they don't know what he's going to say. So unless he says what's appropriate, they're not going to ungag him. That's not your client's track record, Mr. Blanche. Your application to modify the gag order to allow your client to respond to Stormy is denied. And he said, this is ridiculous, Your Honor. The government got her to talk about spanking him. They did not move on. They were talking about spanking him in the butt. There was a question asked about what the inside of the bathroom looked like. Why? Why did they ask that? And what was your reaction to seeing him like that? There was a long answer. They asked her, what was the difference in height? Why? Because there was an imbalance of power for sure, but it doesn't go to the motive. She wasn't saying that at the time. So there was no basis for them to ask that. We heard all of this for the very first time. He says, well, I did sustain some of your objections, but the jury still heard the question, Your Honor, and often the answer. That's why this was so dangerous and we should have never let this in. This was a dog whistle for a rape. Government says, that is so false. We never tried to do that. The claim of an ambush is total nonsense. Okay, there were details that were omitted from In Touch and in Anderson Cooper. This is not a change of story, though, Your Honor. Miss Necheles, the defense throughout, is misleading this. But misleading cross-tested it, that the sex happened and it increases the motivation for Trump to try to silence her. And we went out of our way to avoid some of the salacious details to try to not embarrass the defendant with the details of the sexual act. Yeah, right. At one point, she was asked, did you feel anything different? She was going to say, I felt the skin of a 60-year-old man. And we kept that out. We could put in an ex parte submission of even more embarrassing details that we admitted. So we could have gone way harder, but we tried not to embarrass Trump. Miss McDougal was on our witness list, but we never said we intended to call her. And the judge says, okay, Mr. Blanche, sit down so I can render my ruling. He's all fired up. Ah! You denied the sexual encounter in your opening, so more details were relevant, so she could fill in the gaps there. So it's your fault that this came in. This is ridiculous. Miss Necheles said that she thought she couldn't object under my ruling, but she could have, and she didn't. She did. She did at the very start of the whole thing. They objected multiple times. This judge is trying to paper over this. He's trying to, unring this bell. Not going to work. He says, I sua sponte objected to the trailer park, right? The judge objected on his own because he goes, this is not good. I'm going to get reversed. Miss Necheles hadn't objected. She didn't object to the condom. I have no idea why. I wish that hadn't come in. And then you went into it all about force on cross. You were drilling it into the jurors' ears. It's your fault. And Miss Daniels said that a movie about Roger Ailes made her remember things, and I didn't allow that either. So I don't think there's a new story here. You attacked her credibility in opening. You didn't attack the business records, and so your motion is denied. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Court is adjourned. So amazing. This judge, they feel very panicky to me. And I'm sure you'll get the opposite take from the lefties on this. But if they're not calling Karen McDougal, their whole strategy is basically falling apart right now. The judge realizes something got in that should not have been allowed in, and he's admitting that. I really wish they wouldn't have heard that, kind of a big deal, but it's your fault. The defense is going to say, no, it's not. We have papered this file through and through, making our objections known, and Stormy was not relevant to the charge at all, so the judge should have never let her in. They are scrambling and panicking, which is why Karen McDougal got thrown out of the airplane. So Trump came out after the trial, and he had a couple things to say. Let's see what the president said at the conclusion of the day.
Thank you very much. Everybody saw what happened today. I don't think we have to do any explaining. I'm not allowed to anyway, because this judge is corrupt. He's a corrupt judge. This judge, what he did and what his ruling was, is a disgrace. Everybody saw what happened today. He's a corrupt judge, and he's totally conflicted. And I got to get back on the campaign trail. I'm not supposed to be here. We are so innocent. There's never been anything like it. Read every single analyst, legal analyst. I'm innocent, and I'm being held in this court with a corrupt judge who's totally conflicted. Take a look at his conflict. It's a disgrace to the city of New York, to the state of New York, and to the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Okay, so that is another day in the can. Stormy Daniels blows the entire prosecution, the case, I mean, and we're going to see where this goes as we continue our coverage. So thank you for subscribing, my friends. Wherever it is you're watching this, we appreciate you also becoming a member wherever it is you'd like to join us. Thanks for joining us on the YouTubes or over at watchingthewatchers.locals.com. We have a great members-only community where we do streams in the morning. We get into stuff that we can't get into here. We go live 6 days a week, including on Saturdays in the morning. So come and join us, watchingthewatchers.locals.com or on YouTube as a member. We'll look forward to seeing you over there. And in this case, right back here on the next one. But we're not done yet, so don't move a muscle. We are moving on into our second segment, but we're sticking with this case because Stormy Daniels is already in hot water over there, and I think she's done a pretty terrible job. How bad is Michael Cohen going to be? Michael Cohen snaps on TikTok. Some of this pre-trial fever has him quaking in his boots a little bit, and Fox News reported that he might even be running for Congress. We're going to go through a couple of clips, but this is Michael Cohen looking a little bit rough. He was over on TikTok. He's going to be a key witness in this case. We have a lot of problems with him because he's a convicted perjurer who lied in another Trump trial brought by Tish James. But look at this photo. He was on TikTok doing his little TikTok dances, and there was this photograph of an orange jumpsuit with a nice head of hair, golden yellow hair, blonde. And who could that possibly be? Now, he's going to be called in as a witness, but there are some other interesting clips here. So this image came from Carly, and this is what he was sounding like when he was on TikTok.
Tens and tens and tens of thousands of dead soldiers, of dead civilians in Ukraine.
And look at the shirt.
What about that? All of a sudden, Putin gets a pass? Why?
He's doing the Ukraine thing now?
Ukraine is a democracy. Should America not be sticking up for other democratic countries?
Are they holding elections?
Project Cecil, welcome. First timer, welcome. By the way, we're going to talk about, and we have spoken about, the homeless vets in America.
So Ukraine and homeless vets. Now, apparently he went on to say that he was going to be running for Congress at some point, and I have not gotten that video yet, but here is what Fox was reporting and saying that he kind of had a little bit of a meltdown yesterday.
Cohen's TikTok last night was incredible. He's wearing a T-shirt of Donald Trump behind bars in cuffs. And he's begging his followers to get to 1 million followers, and he's begging for subscribers. And he made a very big announcement, in my estimation.
Don't forget to subscribe.
He says, wait for it, he's running for Congress. Okay, and you can be alarmed or, amazed by that, but then consider some of the people we have in Congress, and anything could happen. But
I didn't hear that.
That was the big announcement last night. I saw it live. He seemed to be into it.
He saw it live. Okay, so those are not recorded to my understanding, but apparently he's running for Congress. Amazing. So Michael Cohen, he'll be perfect for Congress, also filled with idiots. So now we know more about him, but there is a problem because Trump, of course, has been gagged. He's not allowed to speak about anything. And Cohen has a shirt that looks like this. This is a more zoomed in version of this shirt. This was grabbed by Gussie D. She shared this one. It says Mar-a-Lago Correction something. Mar-a-Lago Correction Facility. Isn't that funny? Hilarious. Trump's in handcuffs. That's going to be curious because Stormy Daniels and her credibility just got obliterated. They said, don't you say you hate this guy? Weren't you drinking champagne? Weren't you doing backflips and cartwheels as soon as Trump got indicted? So maybe your credibility here is biased and you're just a hack. Well, Michael Cohen is doing this literally like daily. Not a good look, not ideal, but that's Michael Cohen, the gift that keeps on giving. And they're going to bring him in, I guess, maybe next week. We'll see. But here is what Congress is saying. Look, this is pretty serious stuff here. This guy has lied multiple times. We've already talked about it, that a federal judge said that Michael Cohen lied again. He either lied to a federal judge when he took his plea deal by saying, I'm guilty for something that I did not do. So either that was a lie, or when Alina Abba asked about that guilty plea, when he said, I didn't do it in Tish's court under oath, that was a lie because he actually did it. So he either did it or didn't do it. Problem is, he took a guilty plea, swore under oath to a federal judge that he did it. Then under oath, he said, I didn't do it. So that's a problem. Now, Alvin Bragg and the DOJ are not doing anything about these multiple lies. Congress wants answers. So Jim Jordan sent a letter over to the Honorable Merrick Garland, Attorney General of the United States, saying Michael Cohen needs to get some. May 8th, charges. Attorney General Garland, this is signed by our friends Jim Jordan and James Comer, sending this one in to the DOJ. They say, listen, Mayor, on February 28th, Republicans for the House Committee on Oversight and Reform referred Michael Cohen to the DOJ, that was years ago, for perjury and knowingly making false statements before Congress. Now, members cited 6 specific lies told by Cohen, and we asked you to take action. Now, last year, we learned that Cohen lied before another House Permanent Select Committee in a 2019 deposition. Multiple lies. And now Cohen's testimony is the basis for politically motivated prosecutions of Trump. And so in light of this, of you people relying on testimony from a repeated liar, we reiterate our concerns and ask the DOJ to hold Cohen accountable. As indicated, while testifying under oath before our Oversight Committee in 2019, he made willfully and intentionally false statements of material fact. Cohen also made statements to the Oversight Committee that were contradicted by witnesses. In fact, Cohen lied 6 times. He denied committing various fraudulent acts, but he had already pleaded guilty to those. He testified he did not seek employment in Trump's White House, but that's not true. We know the U.S. Attorney's Office says he told friends that he was expected to be given a prominent role, lied to Congress. He stated that he did not direct the creation of a Twitter account. Turns out that's not true either. He said in his Truth in Testimony form that he did not have any reportable foreign government contracts. Nope, he had 2 of those in 2017. Entities owned in part by foreign governments, lied to Congress. No charges. He's a star witness. Cohen's testimony at the hearing contradicted various aspects of his written statements, and Cohen asserted that he committed crimes out of blind loyalty to Trump which was contradicted by findings made by federal prosecutors and a federal court. So this is I think, an indicator as to why Cohen has flipped so hard. Think of this as all potential legal problems for him. He does not want to get charged again. Merrick Garland and Joe Biden, they're saying, look, yeah, no, brother, you're good, man. We got you covered. Come on in here. Come get tucked under our wings. We're not going to prosecute you at all, as long as you play your role, as long as you keep doing what we need you to do. Just keep on your little stupid TikTok thing. Keep wearing your stupid T-shirts. Just shut your mouth, go in there and testify. And you won't have to seek any repercussions from any of this. In 2023, Cohen admitted to lying to Congress during a separate proceeding before Congress. At a hearing in the politicized lawsuit brought by Tisch, Cohen admitted to lying under oath. We covered that one. In a 2019 depo, Trump's attorney, Alina Habba, asked Cohen if he lied during the depo. When testifying, Cohen said, yeah, I lied, but he took a guilty plea under oath, told a federal judge, I'm doing this under my own volition, and I'm guilty. This revelation prompted HPSCI to refer Cohen again to the Justice Department for again making false statements. Now, currently, Manhattan's elected DA Bragg is using Cohen as his star witness in the Bragg prosecution. Bragg's case relies heavily on Cohen's testimony and his credibility. But what's even more troubling is Cohen's advisor, Lanny Davis, big Hillary person, boasted to Politico that Bragg's prosecution of Trump all stemmed from Congress's and Cohen's testimony to Congress in 2019. Davis confessed to calling New York after Michael was sent to prison. He called New York County DA because the evidence of financial fraud was now on the record, and they should review and interview Michael, and that's how this case began, okay? So an ex-Hillary person called Lanny Davis said Michael Cohen took a guilty plea, and the guilty plea will be useful in implicating Trump, and Lanny Davis probably coordinated the whole thing. He was Cohen's advisor. Go take this guilty plea. We'll parlay that into Trump. In short, to prosecute Trump, Bragg has revived this zombie case by relying on a known and convicted liar. This guy lied at least 6 times. Now, U.S. Code says it's a problem, not allowed to do that. After having taken an oath to testify, you cannot commit fraudulent statements. Now, as stated before, Cohen's statements were brazen acts attempting to falsely and fictitiously alter material facts. His testimony was intentionally false, and now a popularly elected prosecutor who is a partisan prosecutor is using this convicted liar to carry out the prosecution against Trump. And so therefore, we move and request the DOJ investigate whether Cohen and his testimony warrants a charge for violation of the U.S. Code. Thank you for your prompt attention to this matter. Sincerely, your friends, Jim Jordan, James Comer. We know what Merrick Garland's going to do with this. Wipe his booty with it and throw it right in the garbage. So it's a nice letter. Here is what Jim Jordan says in response to what we're now observing from Bragg. He was on with Hannity.
Was raising money, political donations with the DNC. And this guy is now leaves that big, important job to go work and run this case for Alvin Bragg
Matthew Colangelo
in New York City. Tell me how that's not a conflict of interest.
Yeah, it definitely is. You got a partisan Democrat prosecuting the case. You got a partisan judge overseeing the case. The partisan judge's daughter worked for Adam Schiff. She's obviously partisan. And then, of course, there's a gag order on the former president of the United States, the guy I believe is going to be the next president of the United States. There's a gag order on him, but Michael Cohen, the convicted perjurer, the guy who lied 6 times in front of Congress when he came and testified, he's allowed to say whatever he wants. He's allowed to go on TikTok and social media and spout off whatever he wants, and that's their star witness. The country is laughing at this case, and it's why President Trump's numbers, I think in the latest Rasmussen poll, he's up like 10% in the national poll. Yep. That's because the country sees through it all. They see through what Jack Smith is doing. They see through what Alvin Bragg is doing, and they've a long time ago seen through what Fani Willis is doing in Georgia. That's the real conspiracy. Jack Smith, Alvin Bragg, Fani Willis looking to conspire to impact the 2024 presidential election.
Yep, well done there, Jim Jordan. And of course, Joe Biden is at the top of that list. Now, we know he's not really at the top of much of anything. So the rest of the DNC, the rest of the Democrats are moving the pieces around like chess pieces on a board, trying to go after their political opponents. They did it in 2020. They're doing it again here. Now, they are, I think, biting off more than they can chew. Michael Cohen is obviously a disaster. He should be charged with crimes and actually probably in prison again, rather than testifying in another criminal trial as a star witness. So absolutely ridiculous. We'll see if Merrick Garland does anything about it or if Congress increases the scrutiny on these people. We'll be covering it, my friends. Thank you for joining us as we do. We'd also love it if you became a member, in addition to subscribing and liking this video. We'd love it if you became a member. We do extra members-only streams 6 days a week in the mornings, including on Saturdays. So if you're a YouTube member or a Locals member, links in the description below. We'd love to have you join us. That way we can connect on the members-only streams, talk about a bunch of other things we can't get to here, and connect. We'll see you there and back here on the next one. All right, my friends, and now before we jump into it and see what you guys have to say, one final quick segment, and you heard Sean Hannity mention a little bit of this, but here's the story. Busted! 2 prosecutors who are working on the case against Donald Trump have very close connections with Democrats and the DNC. Pretty strange. One Democrat prosecutor got paid a bunch of money from the DNC to the tune of $12,000, and another prosecutor paid a bunch of that money back to Joe Biden and to Act Blue, supporting Democrats against Donald Trump. Now, very conveniently, these 2 Democrat scholars who have apparently done consulting and donating and really are interested in their political party have a unique opportunity to prosecute Trump. Weird. And they're supposed to be people who, as a prosecutor, they get their little stupid badge and they swear an oath and all this stuff about justice and ethics and duty and all, whatever. They are now taking out their opponents. Fox News has a report on this one. Ex-top Biden DOJ official, you know who he is, Matthew Colangelo, was paid for political consulting by the Democrats. Isn't that fun? Here's the background. That's what the guy looks like. And, oh, that's the story. So let's see if we can play some of this here. I thought I had the full video here, but here's just a quick update.
We got the opening statements and a little bit of testimony as the trial for former President Trump criminal case kicked off here in New York City. Prosecutors say that he, quote, orchestrated a criminal scheme.
Let me see if I can get that full article for us. I don't know why that didn't open up for us here.
He did nothing of the sort. And that the trial itself is a form of election interference because he is obviously the nominee for the GOP, and
here's the story
of a campaign right now.
So
Carrie Kupak Urban is here, Fox News legal editor and former counselor to Attorney General Bill Barr.
Listen to the rest of this story.
Well, today was the day we got the
Quiet, Fox. Here's the story. Exclusive. The DNC paid Trump prosecutor Matthew Colangelo thousands of dollars for political consulting in 2018. He delivered opening statements in the unprecedented criminal trial of the Trump case, joined Bragg's office in December 2022 before this zombie case was reignited. There he is. And according to the FEC records that was reviewed by Fox News, the DNC paid Colangelo twice on January 31st in 2018, 2 payments of $6,000 each, totaling $12,000. Interesting. How fair and impartial can you be? The description for the purposes of the payment is labeled as political consulting. Neither the Manhattan DA nor the DNC responded to comments. At the same time, Colangelo was serving in New York Attorney General Eric Schneiderman's office. Who assumed the role from Bragg. Bragg was only appointed as the deputy at the time. Schneiderman resigned. He had sexual assault allegations. Just months after Colangelo received the payments, he filed a lawsuit against Trump, against the Trump Foundation. The lawsuit claimed that the Trump Foundation used the foundation's charitable assets to pay off his legal obligations. Same thing happening here, except this was Trump's personal money. It's not the foundation money. The Trump Foundation ultimately agreed to dissolve, so he took them out. Colangelo stayed in the New York Attorney General's office under Underwood's tenure. But then the first day of the Biden administration, he became the acting associate AG, right? They moved him back up there. Probably launched the J6 prosecution, probably helped launch the classified docs case. Then he went back over to the Bragg case and launched a prosecution there. So he helps oversee multiple departments. Prior to his work in New York, Colangelo worked in the Obama administration, serving a number of different roles. And they say that Perez was the DNC chairman at the time of this political consulting. And yeah, so his hands are all over this. Of course, it's disgusting. He's getting literally paid by the Democrats. Now, another prosecutor who's on the same team, maybe that's just an aberration, right? Wrong. This is another story. The Bragg prosecutor who's leading the questioning in the Trump trial also donated to Biden and Democrats. So Colangelo got paid $12,000 by the Democrats. Judge Merchan donated money to Joe Biden twice, and they were small amounts, like $35, but that makes it really mean something. You're not sending $25 because you think it's going to be meaningful. It's because you're angry, because you're spiteful. Ah! And he did it twice. That's how mad he was at Trump. So now another prosecutor, her name is Susan Hoffinger. She was questioning Daniels on Tuesday, but she made campaign donos to President Biden over the years. Hoffinger's donations came to Joe Biden during the 2020 Democrat presidential primaries. Isn't that interesting? $500. That makes a mark to 2020 Biden's presidential campaign. She made another one in February, $250. We have to stop Trump. And another one, $250 in March. We have to stop Trump again. $900 to Act Blue in the 2020 election. And now she's prosecuting Trump. Act Blue raises money for Democrats. The prosecutor also donated to another of other Democrats in 2020, 2018. So she literally voted or donated to stop Trump, and now she has an opportunity to stop Trump. Merchan also donated $15 to Joe Biden. And I thought it was another one. I thought there was another one. A small donation to other Democratic groups as well. Small donos, right? That means you're mad. If you donate $15, you're like, oh man, I'm just mad about this. So DNC paying one of them, the others paying the DNC. Colangelo's got the smarter deal of the two of them, but House Republicans are investigating all of this, and Alina Abba is weighing in, saying this case has been so disastrous. These prosecutors have bitten off way more than they can chew. Is this something where they might reduce the charges or give Trump a better deal as this all unfolds? Trump's legal spokeswoman, Alina Abba.
Lesser charge?
I'd hope so. Look, it's up to the jury ultimately. You know, right now, I don't think if you're saying that the prosecutors or the DA are going to bring a shift to lesser charges, like DA Bragg has frankly done to 50+% of New Yorkers, he's chosen not to bring charges. But I'll tell you why I don't think he'll do that, because the person in there is the leading candidate for the presidential election, because his name is President Trump. How do we know that? Because he chose not to indict President Trump. Actually, DA Vance also chose not to indict Trump. When did they? After he said he was running for office. There is no question what is going on here. They are absolutely not going to lower the charges on their own accord. I can assure you of that. The only hope we have is that the jury sees this for what it is. It is a sideshow. It is a show to maintain that President Trump cannot be out there campaigning. And guess what? He's beating them while sitting in a courtroom. That speaks volumes.
And they are not happy about that one bit, which is why they also stopped allowing photographs from the courtroom. We talked about that on our members only stream on Locals and YouTube this morning, where they turned off the photographers, said you are not allowed to come in there and take pictures anymore, because I think Americans are starting to see the imagery. We're saying, this is strange. This is all you've got. This is all the evidence you've got. And you're making this man avoid campaigning during the middle of an election. It's a problem. They're absolutely being exposed for the corrupt partisan hacks that they are. And it is, I think, evident now that they have bit off way more than they can chew. So we're going to be here continuing to cover this, my friends. Thank you so much for inviting someone you know or love to come on over here and join us for all of the various trials we're covering, including the Trump cases. And so we'll look forward to seeing you and them back here on the next one. All right, my friends. Well, that is it for us on the day. 3 segments. Now it's time to hear from you. What did you think about the Colangelo story? What do you think about Cohen snapping on TikTok? And how about that Stormy Daniels trial? Man, she really blew the entire prosecution. Their case, I mean. So we have your comments to get to. And of course, as soon as we're done here, we are going over to watchingthewatchers.locals.com, our members only community where we do after parties and member only streams in the mornings. So come and join us, watchingthewatchers.locals.com. Hey, Mari was here from this morning, says, Mercon is Metro, so you can call him Metro Mercon. What's up? We got this one from Jennifer, bringing in 5 new membos. What's up, Jennifer? Thank you, Jennifer, bringing in James X, Ken of Kansas. We got Robert B, Artsy Chick, and Steven as our newest of membos. Thank you, Jennifer, for doing that. We'll see everybody in the morning. What's up? B-Man says, I predict if a mistrial, he will be indicted in Arizona or Michigan. Also, Judge Areola's back in the news. Apparently, I saw that. Yeah, apparently Areola Borealis has been getting some interesting headlines because some other judge may have been communicating with him inappropriately during the trial of Trump back in the day. Sheila P, what's up? New supporter in the house. Good to have you, Sheila. Thanks for joining us. Hey, it's the Munkets. What's up, Tony? Hey, Munkets, bringing in 10 new membos. Vera A, Taylor N, we got Jack J's coming in, Arnett S, Scott W, Jana Q, Raul R, Irene O, L, and Confessions of a Cookie Addict, all in the house, courtesy of Tony Hey Munkets. Hey, it's the Munkets. Hey, Jonathan Mayenko coming in as a supporter. We'll see you in the morning as well to our new membos. Sheila P bringing in 10 membos. Lil T, AJN, Pamela F, Old Guy 65. What's up, Natasha M, Miss Selly, Nurples here, Rabbit Stick, Summers Walkabout, and Mike Martin, all in the house. Gifted membos courtesy of Sheila P. Thanks, Sheila, for bringing in the membos. You're amazing. Pritchie, oh yeah, baby. Great news. Says, I'm out of the hospital. My man, can't wait to watch this one. Good to see you, Pritchie. Thanks for the update, man. I know you've been in there a couple days and longer maybe. So very, very good news. Here's to a speedy recovery. Sending good love, prayer, and energy your way, my friend. So get well soon. We'll see you back here. Hey, Pritchie's bringing in 10 new membos to celebrate. Mitch M, Solemn P, Sean P, Morning Flower. We got 2BB, Brian R, Mike J, Big Boy Blues coming in, Francis W, Shaolin F, and Laura. All gifted membos courtesy of Pritchie, who's home from the hospital. Hey, it's the Munkets with 10 new membos. Man, Tony, super generous today. Trevor S coming in, LJC, MJ Kicks, Rand Dizzles here, Susan I, Eric Love, brand new, Warren M, Will P, Leisha Luker, and Akbar, all coming in courtesy of Tony Hey Munkets. Man, lots of membos today. Super grateful. We're excited to see you guys in the morning. A polite conversation, please, is coming in. We try to keep our manners here. It's like dinner table manners around here. Carol B, as a new supporter, what's up? We got Just Rhonda's bringing in. Just Rhonda's a membo, bringing in new membos. Chrissy's here. J. Callie B. We got Kiki Lee, Tattoo in Wonderland, and Snake Plissken has escaped from LA and made it to our members only community. Queen Bee's Art Hive says, Rob, I love how you get so into this. It makes the news not so bad. Hugs. It's good to see you, Queen Bees. Come in here. I know. Come in here. I know. That's funny. Yeah, well, it's just it's like a wild experience. How can you not get into it? I'm having fun. I hope you are too. We're trying to blend, some seriousness in this historic journey with also some fun because it's so ridiculous and insane. So we're trying to blend it together, Queen Bees. Thanks for being here. And thanks for the hug. Pinecone, what's up? Bringing in Dan D. Dan D's in the house, courtesy of Pinecone. Good to see you. Hey, Lou M says, Stormy but Trump. Stormy but Trump. Crying with sniffles. Yeah, Stormy. Stormy gets very emotional, I know. Glocky's in the house, says, okay, so Speaker Johnson just threw Trump and his legal team under the bus, pretty much declared he's not going to defund Jack Smith because it's important to have a special counsel being able to investigate people like presidents. So Jack Smith is going to use this against Trump and his filing, saying Jack Smith isn't illegally appointed. Oh, and Johnson just let Democrats pass and vote into law counting all illegals for the census for congressional seats. America was fun while it lasted. Yeah, I don't know what they have on Mike Johnson, but it must be pretty good. Hey, Sandy says, judge is forcing this case to be rushed because he needs it over before SCOTUS rules. evidence involved in the outer perimeter or the outer edge of official acts cannot be used. They will also identify the allegation of it being outer edge is enough to preclude it. Blasingame standard. Yeah. So they want the conviction before, because Trump can make the argument either way, right? Even if SCOTUS can come back down and say, this is our new standard on immunity. So then Trump can make that argument. He could say, well, maybe, we have a standard now. So they should litigate that now. Pause the trial, litigate it, and then they can decide to dismiss the case. I would make the argument that immunity applies also in the middle of a trial. So they should stop the trial, settle the immunity issue, or maybe SCOTUS just settles it for us. Because there's two, SCOTUS could just settle it, although this case is not on appeal. So I agree, they're trying to rush it. They want him to have the felony conviction, even if they know it's going to get reversed on appeal. Good to see you, Sandy. Jigsaw Watcher, man, good to see you, Jigsaw. Says, thanks so much for all you are doing to keep us up to date on these trials. Your commentary makes my day. Jigsaw, what a nice comment, man. Well, I'll tell you this, going through this together with you is the highlight of my day. I really feel honored that we get to go through this together. It's an experience. I would be much less energized and fulfilled if I was going through this alone. So I appreciate being able to go through it with you, Jigsaw. Thanks for supporting us. And everybody, thanks for being here. We got, what's up? Roy MC says, I wouldn't put it past Bragg to include Biden on his witness list to stop Trump talking about him. It's funny. You can't talk about Joe Biden, okay, because he's on the witness list. Yes, he also is the president, but he's also immune. You're gagged. You go to jail now. Roy MC says, that's from Roy. Sandy says, Rob, did SCOTUS take the immunity case on an expedited basis? I can't remember now. I don't think so. If not, we will see the immunity ruling the day after partial evidentiary hearing in the Florida case. Yeah, I don't know when it's going to come out, but I don't think it was expedited in any way. I think Jack Smith was trying to expedite it. That's why he tried to leapfrog the regular process. And they said, what are you doing? No, we'll just get to it when it gets here. And it got there. Good to see you, Sandy. Jester Bob says, Stormy definitely did not get carpal tunnel syndrome from typing too much. It's from the overuse of her hands. She is a very hard worker. Yes, Jester Bob. Thank you for the explanation of how the carpal tunnel works. You're right. That's where we were going with that one. She is a very hard worker, and she also rides horses also, right? She may have gotten carpal tunnel from all of her horse riding. Don Goff is here. Robin M is here. Don Goff, what's up? Antiplode. Evian is here. Tam Tam is joining us, and Truth Matters all in the house, courtesy of Don Goff. Thank you, Don. Super grateful to have our new membos. Hey, Jack Mack is here. Says, Rob, you're the best narrator. This is better than Drag Story Hour, which I don't know that that's a ringing endorsement or anything, but I guess I'll take it as a compliment. That's great. That's great. This show is a little bit better than some mental person who is abusing kids. Slightly better than a mental lunatic abusing children. Just slightly. That's great. It's good. It's good news. I'm just teasing you, Jack. It's a great comment. I appreciate the compliment. Hey, it's the Munkets. Bringing in 5 new membos. What's up? Rich N is here. Hypnosis Fairy. A Thompson is here. A Thompson, what's up? Nana B in the house. And also Veg Bloom in the house. Good to see you. Tony Hay Munkets bringing in new membos. Stephen M says he played the 19th, the 20th, and the 21st holes under par. I don't know what holes those are. What's up? Jack Mack says, okay, so in her book, Stormy, she made Trump her B, but last week there was a power imbalance. That's so very demented. This chick is so lost in all of her storytelling, and she's not as good a storyteller as you, though, Rob. Oh, good. I'm also better than a degenerate pornographer. That's good, too. Thank you, Jack Mack. I'm just kidding. I know you're joking, too. Super funny comments. I love them, and I'm grateful you're here. Thank you, Jack. Great donos. What's up? Rich N is here. Welcome as our newest supporter. Good to see you, Rich. We also got Knox is here. Says, happy Thursday, all. For all you non-lawyers, this is not a real court. This is what this would be. This is what thematically the courtroom looks like. thematically. It's a dumpster on fire floating through a hurricane. That's how bad this case is. It's pretty bad. Knox is a defense attorney in Texas. She would know. Felix says, Controller 1 that controls an officer who audits accounts and supervises the financial affairs of a corporation of a government body. A regulating mechanism as in a vehicle or electric device. Yeah, but no one knows what that means. What does that mean? You audit accounts? You're a controller. Hey, what are you doing today? You're a controller of a company. I'm auditing things. What kind of things are you auditing? You know, the accounts. What? What accounts? What are you going to do when you audit them? Well, I'm going to find some things in there, and then I'm going to supervise all of our financial affairs. You're like, okay. Do you really even work here? What's up, Glocky? Next comes voting with their IDs. America isn't a serious country. No, it's not. Laughed a long time ago. Biden's DHS will start issuing ID cards to migrants crossing the border this summer. Yeah. What do we even need citizenship for? Does it matter? Hey, Tony, hey, more membos coming in. Tia Tay, Dyer, no. We got Aubin A, Christy L, Lorraine G, all new membos, courtesy of Tony Haymunkets, bringing in a ton of people today. Thank you, Tony. What's up? Felix says the straws the government grasp at and use them to build a house of straw. Remember the Three Little Pigs and Big Bad Wolf? Huff and puff and that straw house is being blown down. Yeah, and I think that they thought that the demographics in New York were going to be so in their favor and that the media would cover for, right? They locked this trial down. There's no video, no audio. Transcripts are all, difficult to find until we just discovered the New York Times is consolidating them for us. No photographs now. They have a weak case and it's now being exposed. It's good to see. Hey, D5 Phoenix says, thank you for your patriotism, America. Save America. DJT on Ethereum has already donated over 250K. Wow. Interesting. D5 Phoenix. Interesting. DJT on Ethereum. Save America DJT. Haven't even heard of that one. Interesting. What's up, Jack? Says, as a former English teacher, I must say now, I already love Trump, but now I know he's a proponent of the Oxford comma. I'm a bigger fan. Good to see you, Jack Mack. Yeah, the Oxford comma, I think I'm a fan of the Oxford comma. I generally tend to use it. So Oxford comma is like when you have a sequence of 3, do you put the comma before the and? Like, I like to eat steak, potatoes, and salad. Steak, comma, salad, comma, and whatever. What did I say? Steak, potatoes, and salad. Let's say steak, comma, potatoes, comma, and salad. Period. Do you put the comma in after the potatoes? The Oxford comma says you do. And I normally do. It kind of depends. It kind of depends on what I'm doing, I'd say. But I tend to use it. What's up, Jack? Hey, Glocky's here. They are plotting something for the convention. Nikki Haley's easing back into the public life. Yeah, they get him hit with a felony and they just now find an excuse to get rid of him. What's going on, Glocky? Thank you. Sheila P says 100% election interference. It's happening right now. It's not related to the charges at all. We got Pinochet says, I know all about lightening the load while in air. Lightening the load while in air. Well, yeah, because he does helicopter tours. Yeah, sometimes you have to throw stuff out the helicopter, just like Bragg did to McDougal. MAGA Hat from Mark Levin shared this one. Who's the bigger porn star in the Manhattan courtroom, the so-called judge or Daniels? Yeah, good question. We got Just Rhonda says, the MSM claimed the state got a W from Stormy. This morning, the mainstream media claimed the state got a win from Stormy. I don't know how that could be. She sounded terrible to me. Chubby says, wow, the prosecution openly proclaimed that the defense cross of Stormy was misleading. Was this exchange in front of the jury? No, I don't think so. I think the jury was done. That was at the final sort of debrief at the end of the day. Good to see you, Chubby. I don't think the jury heard that. Hey, X is a new supporter on the YouTubes. Good to see you at X. V is never silent says, it sounds like the Trump org is a good working environment. Totally. Compare and contrast that to, everyone loves the dude. Compare and contrast to Biden-Harris multiple support staff turnover. Geez, the prosecution hasn't really found anyone to badmouth him that actually worked for him as an employer. All the others are grifting off the DJT brand. Yeah, everybody, person after person, all seemingly like him. Dolphin fan is the man, bringing in 10 more membos. What's up, Dolphin? We got Lance Uppercut, Spectrum Wiz is here, Jake Blues, AMC Kingdom, Victoria G, KRS, R Farrell, Janella Rella, Winston's here, and Jokoob H in the house, courtesy of Dolphin fan is the man, bringing in the newest of membos. Knox Bierman, a defense attorney in Texas, says, okay, many of my clients lie about their crimes. They feel like their lives are at stake. Cohen is what we call an inveterate liar. He cannot stop lying. Yeah, you probably have met those people in your life. Like, I knew a kid from college, great guy, didn't usually lie about stuff that really mattered for whatever reason, but lied about everything. Like everything. He's like, oh yeah, I've been to them. I know them. I've been to that concert. I went skydiving. I did that. I shot. I'm like, no, you didn't. He's like, yeah, that's true. I guess I didn't. And I'd call him out on it. And it was like weird. Like he couldn't even really recognize it. He's like, yeah, I guess that's true. I guess I didn't do it. That's pretty funny, huh? I'm like, oh, this is weird. So, it's one of those relationships. But yeah, some people just don't have that switch in their brain. And some people are just malicious liars as well. Some people are just, terrible. What's up, Fred? Why, says 2019, why didn't the Trump DOJ do something with Cohen? I don't know. Probably because the DOJ, it wasn't really Trump's DOJ. It was the DOJ. Trump had, a very, very small actual role in influencing them. He thought he did, but they were doing whatever they wanted. They're still the DOJ. They're an institution. Trump was a temporary annoyance they had to deal with. While they were prosecuting him and running the Mueller investigation the whole time, right? He really couldn't do much at the DOJ because he was under pressure. They were saying he was basically impeachable, because of being the president. Hey, what's up? Queen Bee's Art Hive says, smash the like button, y'all. Help Rob out. Thank you, Queen Bees. Always a good reminder. Felix says, the ledger entry of political consulting sounds suspicious. You mean a ledger entry of legal services? How is that different? Political consulting, legal services, donations to political PACs, Hatch Act violations? Great questions, Felix. Maybe somebody should investigate Matthew Colangelo for his inheritance money that he got from the DNC. Cowboy Rob says, what if the jury comes back and asks if there's a lesser charge, but the only lesser charge? The statute of limitations has ran out, asking for a friend. I don't know what the ultimate jury instructions will look like. To me, it sounds like it's a multiple choice option. Like the jurors can just kind of pick. Really, the government is out. They're presenting a smorgasbord buffet of evidence. They don't really care what comes out. At the end, they're going to say, we have three options. One, it's a federal violation, it's a state election violation, or it's a tax violation, which is the object offense that Trump intended to commit. Do they have to prove any one of those? Can it be just one? Do the juries have to agree on it? So it's a wild case. I think they're going to dump it all out. They're going to see what came out, and they're going to make their closing arguments that this is the one based on whatever looks strongest. And Trump has to be prepared to defend against all of them. This is not real court. It's not real law. Jester Bob says, okay, need a quick clarification. Please correct me. Michael Cohen used his personal funds to pay the $130,000 to Stormy. He had to call in a mortgage note foreclosure to get the funds. Then MC sent bills to President Trump for legal fees. This sounds more like MC is the issue. Has anyone ever asked Stormy if she slept with Michael Cohen? I feel like that is more likely than Trump wanting to take a sloppy 400th. Now a lawyer and a porn star. Yep, totally believable. Well, maybe, no, I didn't see that today. She said that they did some podcasting and things like that, and he apologized to her. Remember, they did podcasting, whatever that was. But no, didn't ask about that. And I don't know if that was precluded or not. I think that there were some concerns about that. And I don't think that they were allowed to get into that. So we'll see if Cohen maybe gets asked about it when that comes in. But you got it right. And then Cohen sent invoices, 35 grand. Trump put it in a ledger. Trump paid it with a check. 3 felonies every time he did that. This old guy says, Rob, really enjoy your live streams. Keep up the good work. It's obvious how much time you spend putting together your live streams. and you make it enjoyable and educational, and your community obviously loves you at what you do. I count myself in that community proudly. Man, this old guy, such a great comment. Very generous dono today. Thank you for that one. I do put a lot of work into it. I do, try to deliver here. I try to make it good, be additive. I want to be adding value to the conversation. So I think about it a lot and I try to do a good job. So thank you for saying that. And again, it would not be possible without you. And I can't tell you also how much I learned from you, even on our morning streams. Right? It's almost conversational, even more in the mornings. We talk about stuff. I get links. It's just like a flood of information that we all go through together. It's a ton of fun. So thank you, this old guy. Really a great comment. Thanks for being here, for being a part of our community on Locals. We love you. What's up? We got this one from Aussie Kev. 3 months as a membo. Love your show, man. Never miss it. Thank you, Aussie. Good to see you. Aussie Kev from the land down under, membo for 3 months. 1/3 of the way to a baby. Not Brandon says, here's for your collaboration with Stormy. No podcasts with Stormy for me. No podcasts. I recommend exchanging 4 quarters whence you will be playing the slots at the Stormy Casino. No, I don't want to get 15 STDs and be dead. I'm going to avoid that, but it's a fun idea. It's not actually a fun idea. It's a disgusting idea. So thanks for bringing it up, not Brandon. I'm just teasing you. Thank you for the fun comment. All right, Knox is here. I heard this awesome young woman interviewed on Stephen Gardner's podcast. Shout out to Stephen Gardner. Does great work. He's got a YouTube channel right next door. She states that that DJT will be treated like a king if he comes to Chicago. Their website is Chicago Red. Ooh, chicagored.org. Good plug, Knox. That sounds like a fun one. Awesome young woman, chicagored.org. That'd be great. Let's turn Chicago red, baby. Looks good. Here's a good photo. Oh, this is the website. It's opening up right now. Here's what it looks like. Chicago red. Raise awareness, contribute. Be good. We should turn Chicago red. No doubt about that. Hey, T.A. Holloway's in the house. Says a controller is responsible for the financial reporting, the accounting systems and procedures, and financial statements of a company. I know that's what they say, but I mean, really, what do they do? Really, though? I'm just kidding. I know they do a lot. Financial controls are very important. In fact, I have a financial guy. We talk about him all the time. Putting up everything into your S Corp, getting all your businesses structured. It's a lot of compliance. It's a lot of work. I know it's a lot. It just seems like it's one of those terms that everybody just kind of throws around. It's a technical term. I'm a controller. What do you control? I control things. Okay, great job. Financial systems are very important. I don't mean to scoff over that. And I meant no offense to our controllers out there. We love you guys. And of course, Donald Trump said the same thing. Don't pay my bills, okay? Think before you do it. Spider-Man. Wow. Midas Touch dropped 29 videos on Trump in 2 days. They're obsessed. You should see those guys' channel. It's crazy. Midas Touch, I watch them. I subscribe to them. It's a liberal channel, but it's nonstop. 29 videos in 2 days. That's crazy. Just everything that happens, they're like all over him. It's wild. Obsession. Cowboy Rob says, is it me or does Joseph Biden and Joseph Stalin sound eerily similar? Yeah. Joseph, that sounds exactly the same. Biden and Stalin both have an N, both have 2 syllables, both run countries terribly. What's up, Crash? Rob, I'm of 2 minds. Are these prosecutors really as stupid and myopic as their actions tell us they are? They cannot win this case. And 2, I remember, this is in New York, 96% Democrats. Guilty. God help us. Yeah, you're right. You really articulated the 2 ends of the spectrum and the real tension between the 2. Yeah, first of all, prosecutors are a lot less competent than they lead on. Now, I'm not saying that about all prosecutors. I've met some very sharp prosecutors and I'm like, oh gosh, that dude's sharp. And I've met some idiots, like a lot of them, who are, standard government workers. Like it's just a standard government worker. And, think about your MVD at the Justice Department. Okay, it's not that great. Or at your local prosecutor's office. Now, these people have law degrees and lawyers. And so some of them are very smart and very capable, very competent. And in this case, I would imagine that, Colangelo, I think, probably is pretty sharp. Hoffinger is probably pretty sharp. They probably have some pretty sharp people on these cases. But they are also living in a prosecutorial bubble where they're in New York. They think they're infallible. And basically on a mission from God, whatever their, belief structure is. So I think they also recognize it's a 96% Democrat population. They think their odds are stacked in their favor. I think they're probably right about that. But it's like the police. It's like law enforcement. They have this big marketing campaign, like they're competent, right? Everything you see about our law enforcement and our government, you get on CSI and, FBI Most Wanted. They always capture people. The government are like Fannie Willis. They're like Nathan Wade. They're like Terrence Bradley. They're like Alvin Bragg, Letitia James. Totally incompetent. Colangelo, probably pretty sharp dude, if I got to be honest, because he's orchestrating all of this and he's gotten away with it so far. So, but his cases are failing, so not that smart. What's up? Jarbot says, what are the chances that Trump sues Stormy again to get his $130,000 back from the NDA that she disclosed everything? I think probably pretty low. I think it's probably getting to the point where he's going to let sleeping dogs lie. He already has a judgment against her for, I think, like $600,000, 500 plus. So I don't know if he'll sue her after this. Maybe he will. He likes to take people out for sure. Aussie Kev says, President Trump should go and meet the press with tape over his mouth and just mumble, and then walk right off there. Trump, they throw him in jail. You violated the gag order again, straight to jail. Spider-Man, what's up, Spider-Man? It's grateful to have you here. Hopefully, you can save us. What's up? Real with Robo says, Rob, did you hear Biden said what he said about Trump? Something like, he keeps proving we can't be trusted. I sent you the link on X with a timestamp. I did see that excerpt. Something about Trump. He keeps proving we, as in Joe, cannot be trusted. This one from Wendy W. What's up? 5 new membos, Wendy. Marion G, Patriot W, Sally McCain is here, Dan M, and Audra D in the house, courtesy of Wendy W. Wendy's a membo, bringing in new membos. Thank you, Wendy, for doing that. We're grateful. We got this old guy. He says, no. This is a controller, which is what I thought they do in their offices all day. They're like playing GameCube, all day. What are you doing? I'm controlling the accounts. Don't come in. Good to see you, this old guy. Let's see what else we got, my friends. Let's say hello to our friends on X before we wrap it up and head on over to Locals for our members only watchingthewatchers.locals.com after party. Who's joining us on the X platform? Any good comments today? Of course, there's a lot. Here's one from our friend Paul Mino. He says, perhaps the creators of this game will sponsor you, Rob. The game is called It's All in the Mind. It's called Innuendo. That's an impressive horn, Frank, honk. And there's your boy with my Field of Greens hairdo on there. Good to see you, Paul Mino. Hey, Paul Mino says, yeah, here's a good example of an Oxford comma. Says pounded, blows, and gagged. Just a sample of an Oxford comma and of capitalized words in your recent cheeky segment titles. Yeah, today was also a little bit interesting, wasn't it, on the title. I was talking about the case. Stormy blew the prosecution. Their case. Danny, what's up, says, can another judge intervene? This is a mockery of justice. Well, they could, but it's called a court of appeals. What's up, Fred? We got some good photos from Fred over there. Cece's in the house. Says, has the live chat option changed over there? Haven't seen that one. Hey, what's up? Romeo tipped over. Says, Rob gets nervous with tons of people watching. That's fun to watch too. Well, I want to do a good job, I want to do a good job here. Hey, Azok says, Rob likes his innuendos today. Yeah. Monica says, that's just too much. Nice recaps. What's up, Raven Madness? Via's never silent. Bill of Rights is over there. Says you did it again with the title. I know she's not going to be on the stand anymore, so you won't have to endure my painful titles anymore. What's up? B Torn says, so it all comes down to the same question asked of Cohen. Cohen, are you lying then or are you lying now? Shakes, what's up? Do you promise to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so I've got? Hilarious. Too funny. I just can't help but laugh out loud when you do the oath. The oath. Yeah. Well, they administer it pretty quickly. Okay, my friends, those were the great comments over on X. Super grateful to have you following us over there. Grateful for you following other watchers over on X. It's a good way to connect out there in the wild on the free speech platform. We also are saying hello and wrapping up, reminding you about some of our other websites. We've got watcherlodge.com, our sovereignty and self-development community. We've got all of the past Sovereignty Saturdays that are up now posted over there. So if you want to go watch those, go do it. And they're getting good. We're talking about some good news, sovereignty, self-development, end of the world stuff. We've got our Watcher Meetup, which is coming up. That's on the calendar over there. And of course, robertgovea.com is where you can find our PDFs, show reports. We report on the news there, on our segments there, daily newsletter, email, calendar, merch store, all the things. And of course, watchingthewatchers.locals.com, which is where we're going right now. We also want to thank our amazing mods and our meme smiths who keep this place nice and orderly. Our friends K Bean in the house, Just Cause, we got Playin' Hooky, Ronnie Cole, Zach Nichols, Janek, Dog Digger, Economy Pilot, Donut Mind Me. We're going to add Carrie B to that list. And we're grateful for all of our mods and our meme smiths. We've got Sleepy Dog Lee, Nathan N810, Geegum Geegum's in the house, and Glocky McGlock. Memeing the heck out of this place, making it nice and beautiful. But that, my friends, is it for us on the day. We are coming back tomorrow. We're going to have another day of trial. We'll see who comes on the stand, and we're going to get into it. And to do that, we need to see you right back here so that together, with your help, we can shine that big, beautiful spotlight of accountability and transparency down upon our system with the hope of finding justice. Make it a beautiful night, my friends. Sleep very well. See you right back here in the morning. Bye-bye.